Wondery Plus subscribers can listen to Crime and Sports early and ad-free right now. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts.
In the depths of an Atlanta forest, a clash between activists and authorities ends in tragedy. I'm Matthew Scher, and on my new podcast, We Came to the Forest, we expose the hidden truths behind a shootout that left one activist dead and countless lives forever changed. Binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest ad-free on Wondery Plus.
Hello and welcome to Crime and Sports.
Yay!
Oh, yay indeed, Jimmy. Yay indeed. My name is James Petrogallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I am Jimmy Wisman.
Jimmy, you have nailed the excitement meter there with the yay. The squealy long yay. That's what we needed today because
give it hell.
This episode is insane. It's so much fun. It's a Mitch Blood Green, Michael Ray Richardson kind of day today. It's going to be a crazy brain damage everywhere. Brain damage and cocaine falling from the ceiling. When you mix those two things together, you just get perfection. And we have one of those stories for you today. Can't wait to tell it. Quickly, though, if you want to help the show, great way to do it. Apple Podcasts, that purple icon. We have no idea why it helps the show, but those reviews really help the show. So give us 5 stars. It doesn't matter what you say. Say anything you want. It doesn't matter. Just to tell us, I don't know what, your favorite sitcom when you were a child. Yeah. There you go. You could say that. Just say that. It doesn't matter, but it helps the show. It really does. Head over to shutupandgivememurder.com for everything you could possibly want, crime and sports or small town murder related. It's all there. Merchandise, and there's new stuff up. Sarah made this design with this candle, like those candle designs. It's crazy. It's ridiculous. Check that out. It's all on the site. Everything's there. Tickets to live shows next year as they get plunked into the calendar. All of that's going on. So enjoy that stuff there. Thank you for everything you've done for us otherwise. And if you want to be a bigger supporter of the show, a producer of the show, and get some stuff for yourself as well, there's a way to do that. And what you'll get for this, for your contribution, Jimmy will mispronounce your name brutally at the end of the show.
Best I can.
And he'll try to do it right. That's the funny part. He's not doing it on purpose, but it will come out wrong. Undoubtedly, especially if you're Italian. Trust me. If he didn't know me, he would never be able to say my name.
Nordic ones would get it.
Oh, then no good with those either.
Dots and fucking characters? No.
What is that? An umlaut? I don't think so. Not only that, you will get access to all of our bonus material, so much bonus material. And this week's bonus material, we're going to have a little bit of fun again. This is one of those things. On Small Town Murders, we do the prisoner dating game like quarterly. Here, quarterly, we do the old personal ads. And we mix them with the old, group ads in the papers. Sure. It's hilarious. Old personal ads
Sales
from newspapers.
And personal ads, I can get behind it.
Oh my God, it's so much fun. If you haven't heard one of those episodes yet, they're ridiculous. They're a riot. So check those out.
So fun.
You can do that. And on Small Town Murder, which you'll have access to that as well, we did a case about where it was a crazy case. These people had a shit bucket on their porch, not even a bathroom. Right. And for their defense, for this man's defense, his legal defense in an appeal was, quote, the white trash defense. Yeah. And this is a legal document that lawyers put together in a Supreme Court looked over and read and decided on, called the white trash defense. And we are going to go into the white trash defense in depth because during the episode, no, just because
it's an argument.
Just how it's crazy. I don't care why or how. It's just crazy. And we're going to talk about it and laugh at how ridiculous it is and funny. So check that out on Small Town Murder. That is patreon.com/crime and sports. And anybody over the $5 level will have access to that and all of our previous bonus episodes, everything, tons of stuff on there. Check it all out, but never mind all of that, Jimmy. We have an insane case,
all right,
and there's a lot of it, so let's get right into it here. Let's try not to make this 3 hours long. Let's do our best. Let's do it with Michael Dokes.
Yeah.
You know who Michael Dokes is? No, he's a boxer. He was around for about 20 years, hence the brain damage. And it's one of the weirdest, craziest stories we've had. It's a very Mitch Blood Green-esque story. And if you remember that one, everybody, it's kind of one of our classics. And we expect this to be the same. He is Michael Marshall Dokes. Nickname is Dynamite. He's Dynamite Dokes. And I love the way he announces that, by the way. This guy is a character to the nth degree. Just a character. He's got a big giant afro.
Yeah.
He is well spoken as fuck.
Yeah.
Reads the dictionary repeatedly, so he has like
That's his game, huh?
vocabulary, and like he's just one of these guys who's like a self-educated kind of guy. Yeah. He's very interested in cuisine.
Oh, I love
He's
that.
very interested in French and Italian cuisine. He likes to prepare it as well as eat out at fine restaurants.
Really?
He makes his own clothes, as we'll talk about. Crazy shit too. He always has like a pimp hat on, and he makes crazy wild suits and shit for himself, makes his own ring attire.
What?
He comes to the ring. When the man comes to the ring, from the time he was an amateur, he comes in with an armful of roses and hands them out to the ladies at ringside.
Genius.
He's a fucking hilarious guy. Holy shit, let's get into this. If that doesn't get you wet for it, I don't know what is going to.
He's a boxer who's a seamstress?
He's insane. Yeah. And the crimes he did, bonkers. He's just crazy. He's born, all this whole mess started on August 10th, 1958. Mm-hmm. He's born in Akron, Ohio. And his dad was an amateur boxer. Mm-hmm. So that's where the boxing comes from. He had an uncle that boxed a little too, but his dad was like a good amateur, but then had kids and had to actually make money.
Yeah.
So you know how that goes.
Before LeBron, he must have been the Akron kid.
Kind of, yeah. For a while. For a little while. And then Grace. And then
we don't know him.
We'll find out at the end when somebody wants to honor him and they're like, I don't know if we really want to honor what's going on here. So his dad worked at a tire company, and his dad's name is Gordon, his mom's name is Sephora. Sephora was a housekeeper. She's like a domestic all over the place. He has 3 brothers and a sister. He's the second oldest. So a lot of decent sized family. His mom is from the South. His mom is from Birmingham, Alabama, and she smartly got the fuck out of there in the 40s, which as soon as she could as a teenager.
It's not going to get better for a while.
I'm tapping my watch right now. I don't know if you guys can see this, but it's pretty much the same now as it was then if you've been to Alabama. So, sorry, Alabama, but you know what? I'm not sorry. Getting the fucking at least the 20th century.
They know.
21st. I mean, I know we're pushing it here, but push into at least the late 20th century. If you can get up to the 80s, I'm good. I'll take that for now. I'm not saying you guys have to be like, of today and that sort of thing, but just
fat gold rope and a tracksuit, and we'll be good with you.
That's fine. Pull your head slightly out of your ass, not all the way, just enough so you can see one eye. Just take a peek around you once in a while, and you can put it back up there. But
we get that you enjoy it.
It's fine. So she moved down there, and she graduated from high school in Akron from South High School in 1950, and then 5 years later, 1955, married Gordon. Mm-hmm. They had one child, and then they had little Michael. And Michael says, as he puts it, quote, and boy, is he a fucking quote machine, this guy. Oh boy. He likes to talk, and it's hilarious, everything he says. Quote, I've always been blessed. From birth, I've been blessed. Blessed.
Yeah.
And he said that with a big shit-eating grin on his face while he was boxing. He got into boxing. He says, quote, I can remember my father bought me a pair of boxing gloves when I was 6 or 7. I had fights in school and after school like any other kid, but I was no bully. You're 6. How many fights are you getting into by 6?
And
a lot, apparently.
Maybe he's solving problems. Is he fighting the bully?
I don't know what he's doing, but he's
fighting a lot, but I was no bully.
I was no bully. I don't know what the hell is going on. He said, my mother always taught me to try to walk around a fight. That it didn't make any sense to let yourself get involved in a fight. Anyway, one day, I think it was a Sunday, 3 or 4 years later, my father took me into Jimmy Rice's gymnasium. Also, I remember a time my father was sparring around with me in my mother's basement, and he punched me in the head. We went back down there to the basement about 6 months later, and I punched him in the head. He stopped, took the gloves off, and we never sparred again. We were always a physical family.
You'd had enough, huh?
I said, you're too big to fight with now. That's enough of that.
That one stung a little bit.
That one stung, yeah. So that's when you and Dad put the boxing gloves on to go down and whack the shit out of each other in the basement, I would call that a physical family. It's a good way to put it.
And you've trained a weapon, and then you're going to fight it? How tough do you think you are?
I mean, he was an amateur boxer. He's like, I'm going to show him the ropes. Right. And then it was like, oh, shit, all right, you hit a little too hard for me, and you might be a little fast. He says, my cousin Dickie Lester was a fighter, too. I think I'd been a boxer about a year, and we were sparring. He hit me with a heck of a right hand. I had this personal thing about getting even, so I got back at him, too. Mm-hmm. So yeah, him and his family this is a boxing family. Yeah. This guy's been getting hit in the head since he was 6.
And competitive.
And competitively, yeah. They're very competitive. And he's extremely competitive. That's the thing that's weird. A lot of guys seem to, these boxers that kind of go off on their own, they seem to completely not care about boxing anymore, but he never really loses that. He always is really into fighting, but he also really likes cocaine. So it's like, at one point he tries to meld the two and make it work.
Well, he's trying to decipher,
hilarious.
Is boxing supporting the cocaine or is the cocaine supporting the boxing?
Yeah, and I think it's funny. At one point he's like, I could marry these. I can make this work. He didn't, it's whereas most people think okay, I know I'm fucking my boxing career up, but I really like this coke.
Yeah.
But they have that kind of thought, but he's not doing that at all. He's like, no, this is going to work out.
Yeah.
I can do it. He's too smart for his own good is the problem too.
My muscle milk.
Yeah. Now his trainer, Rice there, he says that he remembers the day when the father brought him in there and brought Michael in. He says, quote, Michael's father fought for me and Don Hale, and he brought Michael to me for the first time. Michael was about 14, weighed maybe 145 pounds, and his father brought him into the gym, and that was that. Mm-hmm. He ends up being a heavyweight, as we'll talk about. He fights around 215 for a while, and then, boy, does he swell up, as we'll talk about. His weight is going to be a character in this show. His later days fighting weights are one day he's 220, next day he's 290. You're like, holy shit.
He does 70 pound. Wow.
It's huge swings of weight where you're like, dude, what are you fucking doing?
That's awesome.
It's insanity. It's coke and food. I'll eat a lot and not do coke, and then I won't eat it all and do all sorts of coke. So it's fucked up. He says he loved boxing immediately, probably because it was in his family, I think. If your dad takes you down and that's what you remember, that's probably going to be your sport of choice. He says, quote, I tried all sports, football, baseball, basketball, track, and of course boxing. I was involved with the Golden Gloves when I was 13. I had a 1-2 record. Some of my friends still kid me about that. He was talking about later on when he's a pro. He says, nevertheless, I tried the other sports. An inner voice kept speaking to me, kept telling me I should be a boxer. So when I was 17, after I finished high school, I became a professional. Jesus. And we'll talk about a little bit of his amateur thing here.
I've got no inner voice.
When I was 15, I had no inner. You're going to do this. I didn't know what the fuck I was going to do.
My inner voice today says, one more beer's all right.
One more beer. Yeah, my inner voice when I was 15 was like, you can jerk off before you have to leave, or you can, you can smoke weed without getting caught.
Yeah.
It's fine. Right. That's all. So at 15, they talk about him in Sports Illustrated because he's an up-and-coming amateur. And he gets quoted in Sports Illustrated when he's 15 and with comparisons to Muhammad Ali.
Oh.
By everybody. He's a very quick-handed... He doesn't dance as much as Ali, but he's a very quick, kind of smooth heavyweight that's not a real hard hitter. Mm-hmm. He's a guy that wears you down. Ali's the same type of... Ali's not a one-punch knockout guy for the most part. He combination guy. So
that's what
Dokes does.
What's with Akron going, you're pretty good at this. Maybe you're better than, I don't know, the greatest ever.
The greatest ever. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's Ohio.
I really like doing that.
You have nothing, Ohio, and you're like, when we have something, no, it's the greatest. No, we've all had great things.
Calm down.
Hey, Ohio, sometimes we all have great things. Doesn't mean they're the greatest.
Right.
You might maybe to you.
Just be proud of it.
Which is fine. Be proud of it.
It's fine.
You're not still not, and we'll find out the difference between his career and Muhammad Ali's here in a while. He says when he's 15, quote, what I am, and he's kind of got a smirk on his face, they're saying the whole time. He's like a wise-ass teenager. What I am is Mr. D. That's me. I call myself Dynamite Dokes. Dynamite. Because it's 75. Yeah. It's the peak of good times.
J.J. Walker is in his ear.
Dynamite. Yeah, that's what. So he says, when I'm moving and grooving, there ain't nobody in the world who can touch me. Speed, they ain't seen nothing. My hands are so fast they can't catch him on film. I can hit a guy 3 times and all he can think is somebody snuck up behind him. I told Muhammad Ali, I'm going to get you, old man, so you better get out while you can.
Old man already?
He's smiling. He's doing a Muhammad Ali promo.
Muhammad Ali's like, what, 28, 30?
Hey, you little shithead kid. Shit, he's in the peak of his thing, but this is fucking funny because this is a wrestling promo is what he just cut, or Muhammad Ali promo, which Muhammad Ali cut wrestling promos because he was a huge fan of Gorgeous George.
Okay.
And he liked wrestling promos. That's why Muhammad Ali talked like that. Everyone was like, what is he doing? He's being a wrestler.
Yeah.
He thought that was cool.
Exactly what he was.
That's what he was doing. He was doing a wrestling promo just like the wrestlers, and that's what Dynamite Dokes is doing as well, because he is obsessed with wrestling also, and repeatedly wants to be a wrestler, and later on will try to be a wrestler. So he's very much into doing like a promo for wrestling, which is
that's great,
ridiculous, and wonderful for us because we get lots of good quotes. They said that he's just always kind of smile on his face, never serious, like to the press and shit like that, kind of like an Ali type of thing. He says, they say I idolize Ali. That's not true. The only person I ever idolized was Tap Harris, my stepbrother. He was a great fighter, and he'd be a champion now, except he got a bad break 3 years ago. Got sent to the joint. He killed a person. Not a bad break. He got fucking killed a guy. Jesus.
The guy he killed got a bad break.
He got a bad break, man. Just killed a guy. Right. You kill one guy. He says, except he got a bad break, got sent to the joint, killed a person. That's why I'm going to be champion. Okay. Then I'll have the bread to try and help Tap. And I'm just lucky that I'm a great fighter, so it will happen.
He speaks so great.
He's amazing.
Grooving?
We're not moving and grooving. That's
I need to get some bread.
I need to get some bread. It's 75, so this is awesome. I just want the whole show to take place in 1975, so everybody can talk like Jimmy Walker.
He talks like the bad guy from Grease.
Yeah, he talks like he came over to their house on Good Times.
Yeah.
He asked, if Florida can make him something, right. And I love John Amos. Tell me John Amos isn't the best TV dad ever. He's to me, that's the guy. Like he's there. Yeah. He's solid.
I don't know. Al Bundy is my favorite TV dad.
John Amos was a better dad.
He makes me feel like
I meant in reality.
Yeah.
Laughter wise, John Amos wasn't funny. He was like he was funny when he'd scare the shit out of the kids. That was the funny part. But he's not an Al Bundy, the comedic center of the show or anything. So I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Al Bundy felt realistic. I was like, worthless guy. I know that guy.
Hey, look at that guy.
I know him very well.
My dad loves that show. Oh, he loved it.
Really?
He just loved Al Bundy. He was like, I'm miserable too. Like that's he would laugh, and that was the tone in his voice. Like, you son of a bitch.
Suck start my shotgun too.
Join the club, Al. Yeah, like he hated his job or whatever 30 years ago. I don't know. So.
I mean, your dad still had better jobs than Al Bundy's. That's a shit job.
He just hated it. Yeah, he didn't have to put shoes on
what he called fat women every week.
Fat woman came into the store today. Peg, he'd come in. That's every
episode.
Every time he'd come in the door from work, fat woman came into the store today. Peg, she blocked out the sun. She's like some crazy, horrible line. So
feet smell so bad when nose hairs are permed.
My nose hairs are permed. Yeah. You gotta love a show when a punchline is a toilet flush. That's the punchline.
Yeah, there it is.
And flush. Ha 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 ha.
And Kelly walks out of the bathroom.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, what? Why is this?
Hey, there's tits. That was the show. Look at Bud. He's small. Isn't that funny?
Poor bastard.
He's a tiny loser. Yeah. Look at that.
That's a whole career.
He's not getting any pussy.
Just about tugging in his room and being tiny.
Trying to get laid.
Just pent up.
I love his web series, though.
Really?
The Starving.
Is it recent?
It's from 10 years ago, probably.
About him not having any work?
I don't know how true it is, because I think they did okay on the syndication and shit on that. Yeah. But the show is basically, he's a loser, and he has no money, and he's him. Yeah. He can't get hired. Everyone's like, it's Bud Bundy, and like no one will hire him, and everybody laughs at him. And him and Corin Nemec, who was Parker Lewis Can't Lose. Remember Parker?
Yeah. Holy shit.
The redheaded guy? Yeah, him and Corin. I think he played a serial killer at one point, Corin Nemec, too, in a movie. But him and Corin Nemec are like best friends, and they're both losers that can't get anything accomplished, so they have all these little schemes. They're like 12 minutes long, these webisodes. One point he goes to Ed O'Neill to have lunch with him, and he's like, whatever. And Ed's like, I'm not giving you any fucking money. You know that, right? You're not my real son. It's a fucking TV show. It's like, he's like, okay, sorry. Like, it's really funny, though. It's good shit. It's just them being losers the whole time.
I'm into it.
It's great.
Embracing it.
So Michael is a great athlete, too. He's a terrific athlete. He's fast. Every coach in high school wanted him to play every sport. Like, he was highly recruited. All he wanted to do was box. He ran the 115.1, or was it 15 or 10? Shit, I messed it up here. Might have been 10.1 seconds on the 100, that's
pretty good.
Terrific. Yeah. That's great.
Wait, there's no way to that on 10.
I don't know. That's
on 100 100 meters?
On 100 meters, yeah, like the 100-yard dash, like as far as, well, if you're 40, you can do in 4.5, and
I suppose.
I guess we'll get more speed up. I don't know how it works.
Yeah.
Either way, he also starts doing drugs at this time.
Hell yeah.
While he's in the midst of this athletic rise, which is not normal for our guys. Usually our guys start once they get like fame and fortune, but he's in Sports Illustrated at 15 and it goes right to his head.
So awesome.
In that way. He said, quote, I've been using drugs since I was 15.
Sports Illustrated.
I started with cocaine. Who starts with cocaine?
Wait, Jesus.
That is not your first drug.
No.
Never. As you start with beer,
Yeah.
and then you move on to like weed and stuff. If you're one of those progression people where you're like, I want to get even more wasted, then you move on to harder stuff. You don't start with cocaine. Where do you go from there?
Weed and you're snorting lines.
Weird. Not a drinker.
No.
Just snorting lines. So he said, the first time I really got into coke was when I went to New York. He said, I remember I bought a 1/4 ounce and did it the whole way back to Akron. Yeah. I was just 14.
Wow.
What?
That's a lot.
That's a shitload of coke, especially in 1974.
What, did he walk back?
In 1972?
All the way back?
I think that's what it was. He moonwalked all the way back, but not even like on the ground, floating. Yeah. I think he just did it in the air, which made him look really smooth.
Jesus.
He could have swam.
That better not have been a plane flight, because that's a lot of coke to do.
I think it was a drive.
Yeah.
I think it's a drive. It's a long drive, and you can do
on a bus.
A 1/4 ounce of cocaine in the early 70s is like, that's a
lot.
That was coke was like you do a little tiny bit, and it's it was
It'll
rare.
Get you through your day.
It was a rare
Just
thing.
A little bit.
Yeah.
And this guy's doing all of it.
I was 14. He said, after that, I never really stopped. I was just naturally gifted, though, and managed to box well no matter what happened away from the ring. And a lot did happen. You name it, I did it. I partied with the prettiest girls in the world, bathed in champagne, and got cocaine by the kilos. I snorted it, drank it, smoked it.
Wow.
So, yeah, he is...
Drank it.
The champagne, I assume. Yeah.
Good Lord.
And he snorted the girls, I guess. Prettiest girls bathed in champagne and cocaine by the kilos.
Sounds like he smoked the girls.
I think he smoked. Well, he might have smoked the girls, snorted the coke, or he might have been freebasing. Yeah. We don't know. Either way, as an amateur, he has 154 amateur fights. That's in addition to getting punched in the head by his dad in the basement since he was 6. And then he's going to have about 60 pro fights. So the amount of times this man's been hit in the fucking head, mixed with the amount of drugs he did, he, by the end of it all, maybe at the end of his career, had 8-9 brain cells left, sort of.
And doesn't feel a thing.
Staggering around a room together, bumping into each other. Like, it's a mess.
He's like Ajax in Deadpool. I don't even feel a thing now.
No, he's dead inside, outside. Who the fuck knows? So in 1974, he was the Golden Gloves light heavyweight finalist, and also the AAU light heavyweight finalist, where he lost to Leon Spinks, who later beat Muhammad Ali. So he was a very accomplished amateur at that time too, Leon Spinks. He was the 1974 North American light heavyweight champion at one point as a amateur here. His childhood, though, he said that he did do a lot of dumb shit while he was doing all of this. He says, quote, I was fortunate. I got away with a lot. People are doing time. People are dead for doing the things that I did. He said that he was associated with gamblers, quote unquote, which means he was probably collecting money for gamblers.
He's a bookie.
He's doing a Rocky thing.
Just picking it up.
He's a boxer.
Yeah.
So they send a guy who's, he's 6'3", he's 200 pounds.
Right.
He knows how to fight, and they send him there, and they're giving up the money.
If he shows up and just says, your money's due, you pay it.
That's what I mean. That's
look for
the beginning of Rocky is Rocky going around collecting money, because that's what the mob guys used to do. They'd have local schlub boxers who were tougher than anybody on the street, and they'd have them go around and fucking do it. So it makes a lot of sense. He says, quote, where there's gambling, there's money, and where there's money, there are disputes. Yeah, that all makes sense. So that's the type of shit he's doing as a kid, though. He's running the streets and collecting money and doing 1/4 ounces of coke when he's 14. And it's a pretty fucking wild childhood, dude.
An awesome life.
There's a lot he's got going on. In 1975, he's the national AAU heavyweight champion. 1975 Pan American Games heavyweight silver medalist. Also, he fought one guy who was this guy Cochran, and he's an Army veteran, and he's a bigger guy as well, much bigger guy than Dokes is. Right. So he said, this is what happened. Cochran said, quote, I'm from the Army. He says, we know about you, and they sent me here to cut you down to a midget. That's what he told Dokes.
He said that to his face?
He said that to his face, to a teenager's face.
The Army sent me.
The Army sent me. Your government. Tax dollars have been doled out so I can come here and whoop your ass.
Yeah.
That's a lot to
That's
say
intimidating.
that. That's intimidating. Well, not to Dokes.
No.
He says, quote, listen, I'm going to whip you so bad they're going to have to give you a medical discharge, is what he said. So the guy laughed, and that was while they were getting their instructions, and Dokes knocked him out in 20 seconds.
He did it.
So medical discharge, sir. So he also beat Trevor Berbick, who at the time was an 0-1 amateur fighter. So he beat Trevor Berbick in his second fight total.
And Trevor Berbick went on to have a fantastic career.
And a Crime and Sports episode.
Yes.
He was murdered by his nephew.
Right.
It was a wild episode. You should check that one out. It's in the 60s of our episode numbers. Also fought Tony Tubbs as well, who was 1-0 at the time. So these guys who are around forever, he was fighting when they were just barely coming up. He's the 1975 National AAU Heavyweight Champion. And, his coach said, quote, he'd be a lot better off if people would stop telling him how great he is. Right now, he's a good fighter, a little lazy, with a lot of promise, but nothing is going to happen unless he gets his body and head together. There's a lot of good fighters waiting to get at him, including Teofilo Stevenson, that big, tough Cuban Olympic champion. Telling Dokes how great he is isn't going to help him stop Stevenson's right hand.
Yeah. Foreshadowing for the children of 2020.
Yeah.
Your kid's not that fucking great.
Everyone, stop. Your kid's not that great. They shouldn't think they're that great.
Right.
Remember when you were a kid and you thought you were a piece of shit because you didn't know how to do anything and you were a loser?
Right.
They don't think like that anymore.
No.
Now they're like, I can do anything.
Because they can do things that their parents are like, I can't do that. Show me.
I blame movies.
Maybe.
Oh, you're saying technology.
Everything.
But that's been since the beginning of time.
Maybe so.
You know, parents.
Now everything's technology.
I'm sure I showed my parents how to use a fucking VCR or something. Who knows?
How to set the clock.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But like, I don't know, dude. That's a
You almost need your kid to show you how to drive your Tesla today.
Yeah, kind of.
You know what I mean?
I don't know, man. I blame movies, though. I really do. I think it's movies. Every kid movie now
is about how great the child is.
The kids are all like literally like Bond villain geniuses. All of them.
Yeah.
They know how to do crazy, not only technological things, but they have these plans and they come up with this shit and all that. And the adults are just like, what happened?
Right.
Boop, boop, and they like step on a rake and it hits them in the face. Like, what the fuck is that?
Why do we got to make the parents so dumb all the time?
Well, it's just the kids get, I think, an overinflated view of themselves as compared to their parents. Whereas movies when we were kids were like, fuck, I'm in trouble because I did some stupid shit and my mom yelled at me.
Right.
And the mom's not an idiot and she catches him doing shit and the kid's sitting out back. He's 12. He's sitting like on the roof outside of his bedroom window smoking a cigarette being like, my mom's breaking my fucking balls. Right. What am I going to do? Let's go find a dead body. Okay. Now the kids have like a fucking multinational conspiracy or something to, I don't know what's going on.
And the kids in these movies are doled out as heroes, whereas like in like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, those kids were fucking assholes and a lot of trouble when they got big.
Well, look at the Goonies.
Yeah.
They're just like, well, let's go down that hole, I guess. Like that was a fucking adventure, you know?
Idiots.
They were dumb.
Idiots.
Making fun of each other. Now they're all very supportive of each other, and this one helps this one, and they're all a group like, Ocean's 11. They all have a special talent for whatever scheme they're on. No.
Right.
Dumb kids. This one's dumb. That one's a pervert. This one smokes. That one's that's the personalities you give kids.
Watch the end of the movie when it shows what they did later. You know what I mean? That's the good stuff. Like,
exactly.
Like Sandlot. Watching them all just grow up to be nothing.
Yeah.
That's what you are. That's what you will.
You will.
That's what you are now. You're going to be nothing.
Nothing.
Because you're nothing.
Because you are nothing. Just like we were nothing and are nothing. It's the same thing. You're not going to be shit. Just
Stop
like we weren't.
You're great.
Yeah. I knew I was terrible as a young person and still do.
Turns out.
And I think it's helpful. It's healthy.
Terrible.
It's healthy. It's worked for me so far.
Self-realization.
Now, Michael disagrees with this, though. He says, hey, lazy me?
Yeah.
Come on now.
I got work ethic.
I've been reading the dictionary. I know what's up. He says, quote, there's no more dedicated fighter than I am. Clearly, he says, I know what I am and just where I'm going, and I know the right way to get there. I'm going to be heavyweight champion of the world, and I'll work just as hard as I have to. Not I'll work the hardest.
As I can.
I'll go right up to the edge, and that's all I have to do. Is that good enough? Fine. But I don't want anybody to think I want to be world champion just for the money. I don't want to be a millionaire. I just want to be able to live like one.
Yeah. Wait.
No, you want to be a millionaire.
You fucking better be one.
I just want Don King to make me think I am until I check my bank account. So
I just want to live like one. No.
He said that he made good money even as an amateur, that they couldn't pay the guys, quote unquote, but what they would do is they just have them sell tickets and get a percentage. Okay. That's how it works. It was like a bringer show.
Eesh.
But for him, he was a local attraction, so he was in Sports Illustrated. He could sell a lot of tickets. He'd make good money selling his promotive, his lot of tickets.
How mad would you be if that's how comedy works?
That would be
these fucking assholes that are terrible, just bringing the audience, and you're doing great.
Well, that's how shit comedy works. That's how like the lower levels work.
But they don't get paid a portion of it. That's my point.
They're just like, great, good job.
Right.
Thanks for getting us our 2-drink minimum, asshole.
Out of 100
So
people.
will I get booked? No.
Jesus,
Bye.
no.
That's,
Yeah, the next open mic that you can bring a shitload of people to is in a month.
That is the worst hustle.
Oh, boy.
Like, fuck, neither of us ever fell into that.
No.
Luckily, we were good enough from the beginning to not have to...
not have to patronize that.
Yeah. Nobody tried to hustle us because they were like, no, they're actually getting booked places.
Yeah,
damn it.
that's working for them.
Can't hustle them.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, he says if I sold tickets, I got a percentage. The promoters didn't call it money. They called it gifts. Sounds like a gift. He says then he's a casual user of coke. He uses coke whenever it's around. This is 15. He's still in high school, by the way, during all this. He's collecting money, doing coke, fighting 154 fights, all while he's in high school.
Giving amazing gifts.
And he had decent grades too. Like, I don't know how he was doing all this here. He was very much his favorite subject, home ec.
Really?
He was the first boy to be allowed to take home ec, and he had to push for it, and the teacher had to ask, and they wanted to make sure that he didn't want to just be in there to meet girls.
Well,
so
you let more boys in, and that won't be a thing.
That won't be, exactly. So
in the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this White Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. We're going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles.
A big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud.
Sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify. In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this White Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. We're going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles.
A big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud.
Sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.
But they back then, this is the 70s still.
That's wild.
Boys weren't allowed in the 70s to take that, and girls weren't allowed to take shop.
Is that right?
Yeah, in a lot of places, girls couldn't take shop, boys couldn't take home ec. Those are like the two places where they separate each other. It's like, well, maybe she wants to weld and he wants to cook. Who gives a fuck? What do you care?
They forced me to do it.
Do what?
Home ec.
Yeah, I had to do home ec. Yeah, we had to take it in 7th grade.
And I was so bad at it.
I'm decent at cooking, so I liked it.
I love cooking, and I just was bad at that one. They made me cook shit I didn't cook. Pretzels? What?
Oh, yeah, I know. We had to cook like a cake. You know, the thing about it, though, I was just in there to meet girls. That's the thing, though. That was the problem. Because I really was. Not that I had a choice to take the class, but there was a lot of girls in there, and you're not at a desk. You're like up working in teams.
Around.
It's a very good opportunity to meet girls when you're 12. You know what I mean? So his high school home ec teacher, Mrs. Eula Morant, she says that, quote, boys weren't allowed to take home ec at the time, but I asked the principal if Michael Michael could be admitted to the class. The principal wanted to be sure he wasn't going to be there just to meet girls. I was able to convince him Michael really wanted to work in the class. And she says, quote, as a student, he was excellent, better in clothing than food, though. More than anything else, he liked making clothes. He liked nice things. The first time he made a pair of slacks, he had a tailor make him a sport coat to go with them.
What?
Yeah, this dude is not a normal, while he's collecting debts, doing coke, and fighting 154 fights. He's got a lot of energy.
He's busy.
That's why he does coke, probably. He needs the energy.
Gotta keep up.
Yeah, he says, Michael liked to make his clothes tight-fitting to show off his muscles, I suppose. There was a citywide fashion show, and I thought he stole the show with those slacks. They were peach-colored.
Okay. So yeah,
nice.
Okay, he's already flashy. And he made them.
So that's exactly what he wanted. Then she said the second time he won for making a 3-piece outfit, a citywide fashion show. He wins.
That's incredible.
Hold on, I got a boxing match tonight, a heavyweight boxing match. Then I got my fashion show the next night.
I gotta sew this blouse together.
Then I gotta collect some debts after that. Hold on, wait. You sew that. I got to go collect money from Al down the street.
3-piece suit is vest, jacket, pants? Or
vest, jacket, pants. Yeah. Shirt doesn't. They assume you're going to wear a shirt.
You usually do.
They just assume. They don't count the underwear either.
Yeah.
So they just assume you have socks.
It's kind of a 7 ensemble if you count the socks.
It really is.
Yeah.
Hey, I got a 7-piece over here. Give me one of them 7-piece suits. That's how I'd love to do that.
Yeah.
I would love to walk into some place, like a nice place, and just be like, how you doing?
Yeah.
You know what I want?
Gonna need a 7.
I need a nice suit, all right? Oh, what are you looking for? Something? Hey, get the fuck out of here. 3 pieces. 3?
Yeah.
You look like some kind of a cheapskate.
You think I'm broke?
You think I'm some kind of a fucking bum? I want give me a 7-piece, the full 7-piece suit. Excuse me,
socks,
sir?
The underwear and the shirt.
What kind of fucking joint is this? They don't. Hold on. I looked at ring. Yeah, I looked at the sign outside. It says your fucking suit store, right? You know what the fuck I'm talking about?
I need the whole thing.
The whole fucking thing. You can make me walk around with no fucking socks on like some kind of fucking hobo. Get the hell out of here with
that. He made a vest.
He made everything.
That's impressive.
He made it all. She said he made a 3-piece outfit, pants, shirt, vest, coat. He made it all.
Wow.
He made the whole fucking thing. Michael always wanted to work from his own designs. Give him a pattern and he'd change it. Mm-hmm. So he wasn't even like cutting and pasting. He had his own creative thing with clothes, which is... We've never had that in any of our athletes, especially any of our boxers. It's not a normal thing here. He says, quote, Mrs. Morant fought right along with me, but it wasn't like I was an incompetent. And why not do something I enjoyed rather than taking auto mechanics so I could be a grease monkey? Okay. He says, winning that fashion show, that was very, very inspirational. To succeed in something I had been counted out in, it encouraged other guys to try it.
Yeah.
That's good. And plus, if he's like a tough guy, that's what you need. You need guys like that to do shit like that. Because if he does it, back then, people are going to be like, oh, he's a homo. But they're not going to call him a homo.
Never.
He'll kick your fucking ass.
Right.
So that's the type of guy that has to do stuff like that.
The big jock.
Yeah.
The big alpha male.
Yeah, that's what I mean. We need and that would help sports in general. We need J.J. Watt to take one for the team and suck a dick. You know what I mean? Somebody like that. Somebody like one of these real manly, fucking, I drive my truck with my flag on it kind of guys and just be like, I suck dick and I suck it hard. You got a fucking problem with that?
The reward's at the end. That's why I do it.
That's right. It's a warmth that comes over my whole face. So... I'm saying that's what the sports would need to make it more. People could come out more if it wasn't like a 7th round draft pick linebacker that says they're gay, but a star who's known as like this. I'm a manly guy, and he's like, yeah, I suck dick. You got a problem with that?
Right.
Think you could cake me just because I suck a dick every once in a while? God damn it!
Watch this homo beat your ass.
I will rape you. Somebody like that, where you're like, damn, all right.
That was my will.
Shit, never mind. Fuck. And people they'd shut the fuck up after that.
They might.
So, I don't know. I guess maybe I could be wrong.
In a perfect world?
In a perfect world. Come on, J.J. Watt, suck a dick. I mean, honestly, think of all the good it would come. All that would come from that. Let's start a campaign.
He does have a giant heart.
Suck a dick, J.J. Watt campaign.
That guy might do
it. He might. He's such a good guy. That's why I picked him, because he's a good guy.
Yeah.
He cares about he cares about people. He seems to care about social issues and stuff like that.
Houston by himself.
He drove around in his truck from house to house with his hammer and his toolbox,
putting up siding,
putting up house.
Yeah.
That's what he does.
Just erecting.
So that's way harder than sucking a dick.
I would think so.
You know what I mean? People suck dick all over the place. They don't rebuild cities.
No.
But tonight, so many people are going to be sucking dick all over the country. How many cities are going to be rebuilt? You know what I'm saying?
A lot of it not very well.
So go out there. Yeah, that's what I mean. And the other thing too, he wants to be good at shit.
Right.
So like him and Ray Lewis should really, I think, one juggle the balls, the other one get the shaft. Like they're the toughest guys of the last. Commit
Don't
to that shit.
Reluctantly.
No. I want Ray Lewis to be like, this is the best dick I ever had, and just be like, yeah. And JJ's like, I know what you're saying, and they give each other a pound and then go back and work the shaft.
JJ's saying, I wanted to agree with you, but he was almost there. I had to wait a minute.
I had to wait. Hold on a minute. I was very close.
My response was late.
It's close. He was close. So trying to be a nice guy.
Yeah.
He says, I was a very busy student, Michael says. Well, no shit.
Yeah.
I guess I was somewhere between an A and a B and a C student. I didn't get articulate until just after high school. And at that time, I was just into succeeding. I was always hustling something. At the same time, I was becoming an outstanding amateur boxer. I haven't played another sport since I was 12, but in boxing, I've got a PhD there. Okay. Oh boy. He says, most of the students were very cordial with me because they knew I was captivated with success. What a weird sentence. Students were very cordial with because they knew I was captivated with success. Hey, that Michael's captivated with success, isn't he?
That's the guy that reads the dictionary.
He's captivated. I'm gonna stick by him. I'm gonna be more cordial to him because of his captivation with success.
Yeah.
He says, I'm
39 and dumb. I almost said captivization.
I've got a capitalization of success. He's capsized with success. It turned him right over.
Oh, boy, I'm dumb.
Oh, man. He says, I was always precocious, hanging out with older people. Hey, I was thinking about buying a house when I was in high school. I was living on my own in the 10th grade. I was a real busy guy.
He's got already paying his own bills.
I think so. I don't know how he finds time to do it, but I just picture him sitting at the dining room table with a latting machine going, Jesus Christ.
Well, green see-through visor.
The electric bill's ridiculous this month.
Throwing it across the room. God damn it, who's leaving the lights on?
I wish I had some kids to yell at, but I'm only 15. Shit. You son of a bitch there. I yelled at myself. He says, some of my friends studied auto mechanics, but that never interested me. I didn't want to know how to fix a car. I wanted to know how to make clothes for myself. Mm-hmm. Fair enough. So he's the 76 Golden Gloves heavyweight champion, beating John Tate and Greg Page in the tournament, which is, they're both bigger heavyweights later on. Greg Page is a very prominent heavyweight at one point. In the 76 Olympic trials, he's a semifinalist and loses a decision to John Tate, the same guy he beat in the Golden Gloves tournament.
Right.
So he lost out on going to the Olympics because of that. So he said, fuck it, going pro then, and goes from there. When he's 17, he says, my mother has been my guiding hand. Dad worked for General Tire. Then after he retires, he says, he's not retired. What do you call it when they do away with your job?
Oh.
So, yeah.
Been made redundant?
Yeah, I think the plant ended up closing down was the problem.
That's a good company.
Yeah, that's where he worked for.
A great one.
Worked for a long time. Mother hates that he wants to be a boxer. Hates everything about it. Even when he's successful, she's like, I wish he'd find something else to do. It's
Find
crazy.
a trade and stick with it, and maybe they'll shut the factory down, and then you're out of work when you're 40.
Yeah, that's much better. Then you can come clean houses with me. It'll be great. She says, as his career went on, I started to pray over the matter of him being in the boxing game. I decided if it's God's will, what else could I do but accept it? It's still very hard to watch him fight. I saw most of his amateur fights, but I've only seen 3 of his pro fights. This is later on. I only go when he asks. I try to stay in my bounds. He says, I resent the part of one of these days we're going to be rich because of Michael, because and that we're going to move because we're wealthy. Money is not the whole answer. I'm not worried about money. I don't think about it. We've had enough. I work as a household domestic, and his father has worked. As a family, I try to keep in mind it's a question of the good things we have had together. It's not a question of having more. You'd rather have your children in good health. Yeah. His mom wants nothing from him. His parents are like, no, we're not rich. rich, but we survive and we don't need help from anybody. That's how his parents are. They're like real proud and old school people, as we'll talk about later on when he's doing very, very well. They're like, we have a 10-year-old car, and like, it's weird. His pro debut is he's 220 pounds. We'll keep track of the weight here. It's in October 15th, 1976 in Pembroke Pines, Florida. He fights Al Thunderbird.
Oh, Jesus.
Al
no.
Bird.
You can't do that.
No, that's terrible.
Oh.
That is awful, Al Bird. You should be ashamed.
Oh, good Lord.
Al Bird is 1-5 coming in, and he's finishes his career at 3-16. So not too great. This is stopped in the second round here for a win for Michael to lead off.
Right.
January 16th, 1977, he fights aboard the USS Lexington in Pensacola.
Awesome.
That's pretty cool for your second pro fight. You're fighting on a battleship
carrier.
or carrier, whatever the fuck
carrier?
it is.
I think it's a carrier.
Destroyer, battleship, carrier.
Doesn't matter. It's a big ass ship.
I don't know which one. Does it have 4 pegs, 3 or 2? I don't know. How many pegs does this one have? That's all I know about fucking ships. That's it. How many spots? How many pegs go in? How many hits does it take to sink this bitch? That's all I need to know. He fights Sergio Rodriguez, who's 5-7 coming in. This is a TKO, so 2-0. The end of the month in January, 2 weeks later, he's fighting again, the Fontainebleau Hotel in Miami Beach. Pretty cool spots he's getting here. He fights Dave Doc Wilson, who is 3-0 at the time, but ends his career at 6-6. So no big deal here. Yeah, unanimous decision win for Michael. He's 3-0. March 6, 1977, for his fourth fight, they go to the Marion County Institution in Marion, Ohio.
Is he going to fight all of them?
I think it's just him versus Cell Block D.
That's awesome.
I believe that's it. They're going to let them out, which this was the time where they were booking boxing shows in prison, as we know from the James Scott episode, and he was fighting in a prison. So, he fights Charlie Big Tuna Jordan. That's a great nickname.
Well,
Big Tuna.
Yeah.
Okay.
Big Office fan.
Big Tuna for his career is finishes 14-48-2. The end of his career, he went 1-28 to end his career. The last 29 fights of his career, he went 1-28.
Wow.
That's wild, dude. Think about that. Think about that. He was 13 and fucking 13-20?
Yeah.
And then he was like, I'll keep fighting.
And it wasn't going well before.
No, he's 13-20.
Then it really went bad.
Then it got way worse. This is a TKO pretty quick for Michael. He's up to 4-0. Next, April 10th, 77 at the Fontainebleau. He fights Ed the Savage Turner, who is 18-7 coming in. He wins it on points, Michael does. Okay. And this is, like I said, he's got his handmade ring gear.
Right.
He's coming handing out the roses.
He's already doing it.
Oh, he did it from the amateur days.
Wow.
Yeah, he would invest in buying an armful of roses because it gave him publicity.
Great idea.
He realized boxing's no different than wrestling. How well you box is great and all, but people have to want to see you and want to pay to see you.
Right.
That's how you make money. And he's right.
Yeah.
That's it, period. So March 3rd is 78. He's in Venezuela. He fights the Moonport Mauler, George Holden.
The Moonport Mauler?
Moonport Mauler.
Oh, there's a place called
Moonport. That's where he's from, but the Moonport Mauler sounds like he's from the 20s.
Yeah.
And he's like a guy with a bindle that came out of a boxcar, and he's like, I'm ready to fight now.
Or he comes in a spacesuit.
Yeah, or one of the two. Let me get my 3 bits first, and then I'll go out there and fight, but I'd need my money up front. Moonport, George Holden. 15-31-3 coming in, so a journeyman, let's just say. This is a knockout win for Michael. He's 6-0. He's not your typical guy running the streets, though. He goes out and parties. He likes all the ladies. He likes the cocaine. He likes flashy shit, but he also likes hanging out with old people. He enjoys hanging out with the elderly as well.
I mean, depending on how old they are, there are some good stories there.
Yeah, well, they're in their 80s, and he enjoys these people in their 70s.
He's finding them with the most stories.
Yeah, these are nice people from Fort Lauderdale that he met, named Marty Cohen and Lillian Perlman.
Yep.
And he said, quote, I met them in 1976, and we got involved with one another. How involved? Well, I'm Jewish, too, you know. My name is Cohen, and I call them Pop and Mom number 2.
Wait, so now he's Jewish?
He says he's Jewish now because of them. He says, when I'm not up here, I spent some time down there in Florida with them. Marty Cohen is the man who taught me you can give a man a fish and let him eat for a week, or teach him to fish and he'll eat for a lifetime. He's helped me with some investments, a few more substantial fights, and I'll be equipped to deal for myself and a family for a lifetime. So he basically hangs out with these people, becomes friends with them, and Marty becomes like his kind of manager / money guy.
Yeah.
He's kind of like his surrogate father, basically, with professional things.
Or accountant.
Oh, kind of, but he like gives him advice and tells him where to put his money, and like he says, I'm taking your money and putting it here, and Michael will just go, okay, Marty knows best. So, and Marty loves him and looks out for him the whole time. He is not a silver-haired, not as silver as they come here. He actually is like trying to help a young guy out and teach him like how to handle his money.
I want to make some money so I can have one.
I know. I want a Marty Cohen.
Great.
Marty Cohen, help me.
Yeah.
I don't have, not now.
If
Get me money and then help me figure out what to do with it. That's a problem I'll figure out later. He said, so yeah, he's done all of this. They are, Marty is 86 years old. And or not when he meets him, but later on. Okay. So he's in his 70s at this point in time. And Lillian Perlman was in her late 60s at the time. And they said that they're all like family. Dokes' mother, Sephora, says, I respect anything or anyone that is good for Michael. And Dokes, he says, my first parents see it, has been a total help to me. My first parents. And he says he's not actually Jewish, like Sammy Davis Jewish is the way he put it.
Right.
I'm not like Sammy Davis Jewish, but he feels like at this point he's kind of not religiously Jewish, but he feels culturally Jewish. And I don't know. He's going to hang out with them down in Florida. He hangs out at the retirement home in Florida.
Jewish. I just want to benefit from the way this guy's investing.
That's all. We're going to play some canasta.
Right.
It's wonderful.
That matzo ball's fine.
We'll bet on the highlight.
Yeah.
So he says that another one of his influence is an entrepreneurial guy named Eddie Elias from Akron. And he says, Elias says, quote, I'm not the kind of person who helps a guy because he wants people to, he wants to tell people about his good deeds. I actually met Michael through Bob Otterman, who was his high school counselor. I had gone to high school with Bob, and he asked me to meet Michael, I guess when he was a senior. He started having Michael come in to see me. He would stop by the office and tell me about his progress. When he had a number of offers to turn pro, I suggested that he go with Carl King, who is Don King's son, because of the association with Don King, who wasn't a known thief by that point. By like the 90s, it was like, oh, so if I'm working with Don King, I'm expecting to get half of what he tells me I'm going to get. Whereas at this point, people are like, he has big fights. Isn't it great? And he couldn't rob Muhammad Ali. So, that's who he was dealing with.
Anybody else?
Yeah. He says, quote, I just wanted Michael to keep his eye on the ball because he was at that age where there was temptations, but he had the attitude of a champion even then. Attitude of a champion. And a trail of cocaine behind him.
Yeah.
So March 25th, 1978, Caesars Palace, Vegas.
Shit, yeah.
That's pretty real, man. It's only his 7th fight. Not bad. He fights Abdul Khan, who is a 1-3 fighter, finishes his career 1-10. So obviously this didn't go well, but it's a decision. It goes the whole way. Unanimous decision for Michael, 7-0, April 29th, 78 at the Forum. So, Great Western Forum in California where the Lakers played there.
Big deal.
Yeah. He's fighting Dan Ronald Johnson. I don't know why Ronald is his nickname.
Ronald?
Ronald.
Like not Ronald?
Ronell. Ronald. Ronnell.
That's Ronell.
Ronell. Yeah. Dan Ronell John. I guess maybe this likes to be called Ronell.
He enjoys his middle name.
They're like, hey, Dan. He's like, call me Ronell.
Right.
Okay. So, hey, Ronell. 3-13 coming into this is him. So, another unanimous decision, though. Shouldn't go the distance.
Yeah.
That guy's a fucking bum.
Yeah. He's also, I don't know.
3-13?
Yeah.
Knock this guy out. You're an up-and-comer. Yeah, you got to show.
Those Ronells hit hard.
Some flat. You never know. Yeah, you go by Ronell. You got to handle that name.
Yeah. Maybe he just
It's a heavy name on the shoulders.
Maybe he just thought everybody goes by their full name. He's like, this guy's middle name is Dynamite? That's amazing.
Fuck, man. Damn.
How does everybody get great middle names like Bulldog?
Shit, man. The last guy was Thunder?
Right.
Man, that's cool.
It went with his last name and
That's
everything.
awesome, man.
That
doesn't work for me.
My parents were dumb, named me Ronell.
Johnson. They could have named me like, long or big or swinging or something, you know what I mean?
Heavy, hairy.
Heavy, hairy, some shit. I don't care. 4 pound, something. So, September 26th, a unanimous decision win there for Michael. September 26th, 78, down in Miami, he fights Terry Mims, who's 7-1 coming in, but this is another win for Michael, unanimously, decision. Next up, October 27th, 78, is Madison Square Garden.
All right.
So, shit, that's pretty cool. You fought at you haven't even had 10 fights. You fought at Caesars,
right.
You fought at the Forum, and now you're fighting at Madison Square Garden.
It's awesome. These are all undercards, right?
Yeah, he's on the undercard all these fights, but still, that's pretty impressive. That's pretty impressive. That's because the heavyweight division back then was
deep.
People wanted to see it.
Yeah, Muhammad Ali did for boxing what Michael Phelps has done for swimming. Like swimming,
boxing's lost popularity since the 60s.
No, but I'm saying what he did, Michael Phelps is doing for swimming what Muhammad Ali did for boxing in terms of like being so great. In the 70s and 80s, that shit was banging.
Yeah,
it was great.
Before that, it was even more popular. Though.
Really?
That was the downhill for boxing.
Is that right?
It was still very popular, but it's been on a downhill since the 50s.
Yeah,
that was
Mike Tyson
kind of the peak.
Really went away.
But I mean, in the 70s and 80s, there was a big pop. Whenever there's popular heavyweights, it gets popular again, and then it
trickles off.
Yeah, we had Frazier, Foreman, Ali. We had all these great heavyweights, and then the 80s. It was a lull here when Dokes comes in, and then Tyson came on the scene and obviously lit that the fuck up.
When you're allowed to have gatherings again, go to a swimming pool and see how many fucking parents think their kids are talented. It's bananas, man.
Yeah.
You will sit all day long to watch your kids swim 3 fucking events because it's just race after race of kid after kid. It's enough, Aiden. We see you swim. You did
great.
fine.
You're doing fine, Holden. Relax.
Yeah.
Listen, little Hunter, calm down.
Enjoy baseball season, Easton.
Christ. Yeah, Jesus, like the bat.
Right.
So here he fights Eugene Green and beats him unanimous decision, 10-0. So an MSG victory. That had to be pretty cool. December 8th, 78, back at Madison Square Garden, fighting Ira Martin.
Oh, boy.
Who sounds like Marty Cohen hired him to be his assistant. Ira Martin. He goes by Joe, which is tougher than Ira a little bit. Anything's tougher than Ira. His name could have been Dolores and it'd be fucking tougher than Ira, you know?
It didn't go over him, did it?
If it was Dolores, you'd be like, he must be tough to have that name to be able to carry that shit for that long, you know? He must have got fucked with. But Ira? Nope. He's 10-3 coming in, but finishes his career 10-5.
It doesn't go well.
No. I think this fight jangled his fucking brains a little bit here. TKO win for Michael.
All right.
March 23rd, 79 at the Vegas Hilton. So look at that. Versus Wendell Bailey, who is 13-0 coming in. This is a real fight. 13-0. Michael's 11-0. This is, let's put 2 contenders in and see who's a bum.
Shit, yeah.
So that's something. This is it goes the distance, and he wins. Michael wins a majority decision win. So it's a split. Yeah, this is as close as he's come so far. So he's 12-0 after that, and you can tell he gets a little more serious. I feel like that's when probably whoever his manager sat him down and said, "You almost lost that fucking fight."
Right.
And
maybe run a little bit more.
You need to be more aggressive is what it is. You need to get in there and be more aggressive. You can't just sit back and play defense.
Right.
You can't play Oscar De La Hoya the whole fucking time.
Yeah.
So the next fight is Greg Sorrentino at Caesars Palace on May 12th, 1979. Sorrentino's 15-4-1 coming in, and Michael.
Mr. Dokes.
His name is Greg Sorrentino. Michael knocks him out in the 3rd round. So there you go. 13-0 for Michael. Next is July 20th, 79 in West Palm Beach versus Willie McIntyre, who's 13-13 coming in. 13-13-5. 5's a lot of draws.
It's too many.
Too many, right? How many?
Figure it out. Are you winning, or are you just gonna?
How many times can it be even
on a draw? Does nobody get paid?
No, everybody gets paid. Yeah. There's just no. That's all negotiated ahead of time.
But draws should be a no pay.
No pay. Or you should both get paid extra. Either one. I'm not sure. Yeah, you went the distance.
Yeah, there's got to be a decision in there.
Oh, man, but this is a knockout here. No draw here. So he's 14-0, Michael is. September 28th, 79 at Caesars in Vegas. Again, that's pretty cool. Versus Jimmy Young, who's 23-8-2 coming in and known as a pretty damn good fighter. This is a unanimous decision win. Michael's 15-0 and he's starting to think about the future.
Yeah.
He thinks now, once you get to 15-0, they start looking at you. Once you get to 20-0, you start getting title shots.
Absolutely.
So he says, quote, "I want to learn more about people, learn to understand them. I would like to be their champion."
Careful about that.
All of them, apparently. Yeah. I'd like to learn more about people so I can rule them, is what it sounded like he said. I'd like to be their champion. I would like for them to feel at ease with me. Who?
Right.
Just everybody? Anybody?
Take it easy.
Wow. That's why if I went to visit a ghetto, I would not use 9-letter words.
Wait.
Okay.
How many? Are you going to use bigger ones or smaller ones?
I think smaller is what he's getting at. He's going to play to his audience.
He's going to learn who to talk to. Yeah, that could play terribly. You could end up using small words with a very educated person.
Doesn't mean they'll be like, hey,
to live in the
because I'm fucking poor doesn't mean I'm stupid. What the shit, dude? Yeah, all that is poor. So it could be anybody. They're just happy to be poor.
My mom could still afford a dictionary like yours, asshole.
I still had an encyclopedia and I looked at it. So he says that, basically he wants to be more of a craftsman. He doesn't want to be as wild in the ring because he wants people to look at him differently. He says, quote, I am not a killer. I do not enter the ring with the intention of drawing first blood. I enter to win, to do my job, not to hurt others. So he's trying to say, I'm a nice guy and I'll beat the shit out of people and then be nice to them.
Right.
Which is kind of what Tyson used to do.
Yeah.
He'd knock the shit out of people and then pick them up and tell them he loved them very much. And
tell them how great
you're terrific and wonderful, and you're going to be in my prayers forever, and I love your family, and I'm going to send your grandmother a Christmas card.
Name now.
Yeah, that's fine, but we have this bond for life. Hugging in the ring and shit. You just beat my ass. Don't fucking come near me, dude. Fuck out of here.
I can't taste right now.
Yeah, get away from me.
I can't taste. My nose running. I think I have COVID. I don't know what happened.
And it's 1987, so that's how hard you hit. You hit a disease back 35 years. That's pretty wild. Punched a disease back into time. So, January 13th, 1980, Caesars in Vegas again versus Earl Tripp. Double P on that trip.
Hell yeah.
Of course. 13-3 he is coming in. TKO win for Michael. He's 16-0. February 10th, 1980, Lucien Rodriguez. He beats him in a unanimous decision, 17-0. April 19th, 1980, in San Juan, he fights Ozzy Ocasio. Jaws is his nickname. Jaws Ocasio, who's 14-1 coming in. Okay, this fight is a draw.
What?
So goes the distance, and it's a goddamn draw. Doesn't hurt that it's Ocasio's from Puerto Rico, and it's in San Juan.
Right.
Fighting, especially back then, local judging is a huge deal.
Skewed.
It's a little, it's skewed. I've talked about that scorecasting book before. It's skewed now in major professional sports that are on television.
Right.
The people influence judges. They influence, and it's the matter of those split-second decisions.
Right.
You get your influence. It's just a human reaction. Your brain can't help it.
Yeah.
So
they couldn't give him the win because that would be too obvious. And they can't give Michael the win because what the fuck?
Because they'll get murdered.
Boy.
And if you've ever heard anything about like wrestlers when they used to wrestle in Puerto Rico back then, especially, it was wild. People were throwing D-cell batteries and guys were getting stabbed and people are throwing glass bottles at them and shit. There's not a lot of control over the environment inside.
Can you imagine people beat the shit out of Dane Cook because he got the girl in the movie? You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
It's acting, you guys. It's in the script.
Calm down. Well, that's what they did in wrestling.
Yeah.
You beat that guy.
Right. That's my point.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Fucking crazy. So 17-0-1 now for Michael. So he must be pissed about that. So mad that 2 months later in June of 1980, he's back in San Juan fighting Ocasio again. This time, he doesn't leave it up to the judges. TKO in round 1.
Yeah.
He goes out and says, I can fucking whoop that guy, and I'm not. So he was just lazy in the first fight.
Don't give him the chance.
He's probably hanging out on the beach, drinking rum, eating food, doing coke. It's
smoking
fucking
cigars, enjoying himself.
Yeah, the first fight. And he's like, oh, I actually have to work out and stuff. Shit. Okay, wait. Hold on. October 2nd, 1980, at Caesar's Palace, he's fighting Roughhouse Tom Fisher. Roughhouse.
He puts it at the beginning.
Roughhouse. Yeah. 29-4 coming in, though, for old Roughhouse. TKO win for Michael, though, 19-0-1. So, Michael, though, he's doing so much drugs on the outside.
Sure.
At one point, his manager, Marty Cohen here, is in the hospital in Miami because he's 80. Right. You know how that goes.
That's going to happen.
It happens a lot.
It's going to be more frequent, too.
Just keeps getting worse and worse until then you don't have to go at all.
Right.
He says, eventually, he says that Mike Dokes came and visited him in the hospital, which is sweet. That's nice. But this is what Cohen says, quote, he was loaded. And after he left, my doctor said to me, Marty, he's on drugs. He says, I said, I know it.
He's on more drugs than you are.
Holy shit, Marty.
You on a drip.
Wow, it's wild. I'm going to go ask him if he's got any more.
Right.
I have a feeling he's got better shit than we got here at the hospital, probably, because he looked fucked up.
Yeah.
Cohen also talked about one time he threw a party for Dokes, and he says during the party, quote, he had a little white powder on his lips and nose and didn't even know it.
It's on his face.
Walking around the party with Coke on his face. Well, wait till you hear during one of his fights.
No.
Oh, yeah. This goes real dead. This is all happy and fun and just, I'm talking like a roller coaster. It's going to drop. March 22nd, 1981 at Caesars, he fights Randall Tex Cobb.
Oh, really?
Who is a big actor. You might know him from the...
I just saw him in it from last night.
There you go. Raising Arizona.
Right.
He's the guy on the motorcycle.
Yeah.
There you go. He's in a ton of movies, though.
Is he the same guy from what is it? Ace Ventura? The guy in the... No, that guy's a football player. No, that guy's a boxer.
No, it's him. It's Tex Cobb.
Right.
Tex Cobb's in a shitload of movies. His IMDb is... it's deep. And he was a pretty good boxer. Tex was 17-1 coming into this fight.
No kidding.
Career record of 42-7-1. So fuck, man, successful in boxing, successful in movies.
P.S. Raising Arizona is a fucking amazing movie.
It's incredible.
It's so good.
It's so good.
I just watched it because it's on HBO
Watch
Max.
it, yeah.
It's amazing.
Rewatch that, people.
So good.
It is fucking
the script,
great.
the acting,
Everything.
everything's amazing.
It's Nicolas Cage's best acting he's ever done. He's normally not a great actor in that one. He's just terrific.
I can't believe anybody got that script, read it, and was like, we are taking this dead serious. I can't believe it.
That's
I'm
what I
blown
mean.
away
That's what's great.
How well they all committed to it, and it's so well done.
The fucked up part is, you know when I saw that movie?
No.
I saw that movie in the movie theater with Racist Nan. Racist Nan, we went to the movies like 3 times, and every time we went, it was like not what she thought it was and inappropriate.
Yeah.
And so she sat there uncomfortably the whole time, which was hilarious. The other one was Look Who's Talking, which, you know, I'm like 10 and there's all this sperm going around like I'm sitting next to my grandmother. But we
the
went.
opening scene is a sperm going to the egg.
That's what I mean. That was right in the credits. I'm like, oh boy, we're jumping right into this, huh?
This is going to get good.
But Raising Arizona, she had seen the trailer where he's robbing the place and he goes to rob the truck and he's got and she says, son, you got a panty on your head, and she thought that was funny and
it's hilarious.
It looks like a funny, silly movie. Let's go see it. And she liked it.
Yeah.
She fucking liked it somehow. So
I
whatever.
love Holly Hunter as this.
She's so good.
Just a hillbilly. But honey, and her face is
so good, dude. So good. Rewatch that. And Tex Cobb is great in it too. He looks like a scary bastard, and he is, as we see. He beat 42 professional boxers, so that tells you a lot. This is a majority decision win for Michael, though. He beats Tex, and he's 20-0-1. Wow. He just beat a contender, and he's got 20 wins. Now it's time to start looking at being a champion here. And he says that he's not too anxious. He'll wait his turn. He said, above all else, I've learned to be patient. It's but a matter of time until I fight for the championship. I know that, and I'm sustained by that. Okay. Wow. He sounds like he's chairing a fucking board meeting in a Fortune 500 company. Right. You know, I'm sustained by that.
Right.
Can we put it to a vote, please?
Well, hold on. Spending any more capital this month.
Yes. We're going to keep expenditures down, and we're going to slash. So he says, quote, I've abandoned the prediction business. In 1978, I said I would be great. In 1979, I said the title would be mine. But in 1980, I said maybe. Now I don't say anything. I wait. I continue to work. When it's my turn, I intend to be fully ready, physically as well as mentally. He's ready. June 12th, 1981, Joe Louis Arena in Detroit. He fights John L. Gardner, who is as British as he sounds.
Oh, boy.
He is 33-2-1 coming in, though.
Good fighter.
Not to be trifled with.
Yeah.
He's got like the stand-up European style.
Yeah.
Like the old school, like, you know, put up your dukes. Yeah, like, no, like there should be a kangaroo on the other side of that match, you know, boxing with one of those.
He rolls his fists around each other.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah.
Come on, boy.
Come on, boy. Let's we go around. Oh, no, don't call him boy.
No, never do
No. We meant that like old boy, like British-wise. Yeah, that was...
Come on, old chap.
Come on, boy. Oh, my, he's hitting me. Oh, no, not that much. Oh, goodness, my. Who are you calling boy, motherfucker? He's kicking his ass.
What was it?
Oh, my. What? Oof.
I was giving you the respect you deserve. You
the young man was testy in that. Hold on. I'm going to find my nose. Wait.
He was hip-hop's biggest mogul, the man who redefined fame, fortune, and the music industry.
The first male rapper to be honored on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Sean Diddy Combs.
Diddy built an empire and lived a life most people only dream about.
Everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah, that's what's up.
But just as quickly as his empire rose, it came crashing down.
Today I'm announcing the unsealing of a 3-count indictment,
charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution.
I was up. I hit rock bottom, but I made no excuses. I'm disgusted. I'm so sorry.
Until you're wearing an orange jumpsuit, it's not real. Now it's real.
From his meteoric rise to his shocking fall from grace, from law and crime, this is the rise and fall of Diddy. Listen to the rise and fall of Diddy exclusively with Wondery Plus.
A few miles from the glass spires of Midtown Atlanta lies the South River Forest. In 2021 and 2022, the woods became a home to activists from all over the country who gathered to stop the nearby construction of a massive new police training facility, nicknamed Cop City.
At approximately 9 o'clock this morning, as law enforcement was moving through various sectors of the property, an individual, without warning, shot a Georgia State Patrol trooper.
This is We Came to the Forest, a story about resistance.
The abolitionist mission isn't done until every prison is empty and shut down.
Love and fellowship.
It was probably the happiest I've ever been in my life.
And the lengths we'll go to protect the things we hold closest to our hearts. Follow We Came to the Forest on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus.
Fuck, man. So, this is a KO in round 4. So Michael knocks the shit out of him. Yeah. Must have called him, boy. I don't know. So he's 21-0-1. So, for Dokes here, he loves it. He says, I'm searching for the total dimension, not just what professional boxing has to offer. I want to be eloquent and versatile.
Jesus.
What is he talking about?
You are.
He says that he likes to cook and he likes to make fancy food. He said, quote, I've moved up to desserts. The fancy dishes, the challenges.
Yeah, I'll bet they are.
He's doing fucking beat Bobby Flay over here at the same time. You got enough going on, dude. Between the coke and the boxing,
right?
What else are you gonna do now?
Take it easy on the eclairs.
Yeah, calm down on the truffle oil, Chief. Relax. So August 9th, 1981, he's in Cleveland. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And he fights Harry the Spoiler Terrell, who's 15-10. First round knockout for Michael, 22-0. The spoiler.
Yeah.
Ha, I'm going to get you. I'm the spoiler, see?
I ruined careers.
Yeah, he's 18-18 for his career, the spoiler. He spoiled his father's ambition for him. That's what he spoiled. So, November 6th, 1981, they're in Pittsburgh. He fights George Chaplin and wins a unanimous decision there, 23-0. And at this point, he's talking to the press after the fight, and he's talking about what literature.
Yeah.
And he really wants, it's like, I'll box, but then he won't talk about boxing. He'll only talk about things that you wouldn't think he'd be into, because he wants to show
my book club.
Yes, he talks about Machiavelli and the Prince is what he's talking about.
Yeesh.
Yes, he said about that. He says, when I was reading it, it occurred to me this Prince would have made a hell of a fight promoter. I told you I read a lot of stuff, but mostly of late I've been into money books, money management and estate planning.
Right.
So he's talking about the fucking Prince. He would have made a hell of a fight promoter.
I didn't read the book.
No, well, it is Machiavelli, and you can
I know
extrapolate from there.
His own death. That's all I know.
Never mind. Well, we're not going to have literature corner over here.
And I learned
because I'm dumb. I'm just dumb. I didn't even graduate high school, so
I just learned about the guy from Tupac.
And every rapper in 1995.
Right.
Yeah, all of them. That's the shit. Yeah, I read that shit, but not in school, so I don't
know.
I just know what I thought, and I don't know if that's correct or not, because I was never around anyone to discuss it, so that's the problem if you're dumb and you didn't do anything in school, and then you try to, educate yourself later on. You don't have anybody to ask and go, is that right? Am I reading that right? Nope. It's just, I guess that's what they're talking about.
Run with your own imagination.
That's all I can do.
This is what I took from it.
That's it. I don't know. It could be wrong. I don't know. So January 30th, 82 at Caesars, he fights Lynn Bullet Ball.
Okay.
Bullet Ball.
Wow.
That's a weird. Okay. He's 17-5, 17-7 for his career. So this isn't going to go well. TKO in round 1 at 2 minutes and 56 seconds. So almost made it, but not quite. 24-0-1 for Michael. Don King is promoting his fights now, and he says that Michael Dokes' next couple of fights, one of them could be for the championship. He's ready to step it up and ready for a title fight. Don King says of him, quote, "He is the fastest of all heavyweights, and he has a wealth of talent, a wealth of charisma. I am proud of him. I expect great things from him." Mm-hmm. So Don King said that. So he's like, I'm going to rob him blind.
You betcha.
I expect to just grab him by his ankles, turn him upside down, and shake out the change.
I expect a lot of diamonds in a big house from him.
That's right, goddamn. I'm going to spend his money and enjoy it. March 20th, 1982, at the Playboy Hotel and Casino in Atlantic City.
Oh, boy.
Gross.
Not the good one.
In 82.
Yeah.
Ugh. That whole town smelled back then. It was disgusting. It still smells. It's gross. So, versus Tommy Franco Thomas. His name is Thomas Thomas.
Yeah.
Tommy Thomas?
No good.
Your name is Tommy fucking Thomas?
Yeah.
You can't be Tommy
and
Thomas.
Franco in there?
I get. Well, that's why he's 24-3 as a boxer, because he's had to beat the shit out of a lot of people for making fun of him about his name. Him and Ira are going to go at it.
Thomas.
Fuck. KO in round 5 here for Michael, 25-0-1. Mm-hmm. So Michael's doing great at this point. 25-0-1. Don King saying he's proud of you. Mm-hmm. You're doing well. You're cooking desserts.
Yeah.
Everything is great. May 1st, 1982. Not so great. He is speeding in his 4-door Mercury. The fuck kind of Mercury is he? He's got money. Why is he driving a Mercury?
I mean, if you get a nice Cougar.
In 82?
Yeah. Mercury didn't really make
those tiny shit box. They were just like Ford Escorts and shit.
Yeah, well,
didn't they make a Cougar, like the bigger Cougar?
The big race car.
That looked like a Thunderbird?
Yeah.
One of those?
Yeah.
I guess.
I mean, the Mercury Sable.
If he's driving...
Mercury's are old people's cars.
He's got peach pants on with a fucking pimp hat driving a Sable? I hope not. That'd be weird as fuck.
It's going to be a Mercury, the big body.
One of the sportier ones.
It's a 4-door? Is that what it is?
That doesn't say. 4-door Mercury.
It's the big body.
Yeah, I guess so.
The pimp car.
Well, it's only at 6:30 p.m., so he's not like, it's not 2 a.m, which is rare for our guys. It's usually 3 a.m. Oh, shit. Here we go. 6:30 p.m. Apparently, he changed lanes 3 times and ran a red light.
Wow.
And in a rainstorm, too. So anytime you blow traffic shit during rainstorms, it's like extra because it's conditions.
Right.
Yeah. Now, when the police finally stopped him, what he did is he said that Dokes said, no, it's cool.
Yeah.
I am a deputy sheriff from Westmoreland County, Pennsylvania.
Oh, no.
That's what he tells them.
From another state.
Which is... What are you fucking doing?
Yeah.
And produced a badge and started filling out the identification card that they do for officers to back up his claim. But then at that point, they found out that he was in no way a sworn deputy sheriff when he didn't know certain information to fill out because he's not a cop.
How did he get that?
This is wild.
Who was the other guy that did that? We had a basketball player did that shit.
Yeah, we've had a couple people impersonate. I want to say Olden Polynice.
I think that's true.
Was the one who impersonated police. We've had that's happened like 3 times before, the impersonating police officers.
You can't do that.
Well, it's because these departments give athletes these badges. They have badges.
Yeah.
Rod had a bag of badges, dude.
A bag of them?
A fucking bag of them. Boy. I'm talking a backpack that had San Francisco, Oakland, Marin County, this county, LA County, fucking Boston, Chicago, from all the places he played. He had them all over, from Florida, from spring training. He had all these badges. He had a fucking DEA badge. He had a fucking DEA badge. He had all these literally federal badges they gave him. He's like, I have all these fucking badges. They just give them to me. He's like, I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do with them. What am I supposed to do with these things?
I want them.
He's just in a bag in his closet because he was like, because something at the DEA came up. He goes, I got a badge. They're pretty cool. I was like, why do you have a DEA badge? He goes, I got a lot of badges. I'm like, why?
All I've got is an immigration
badge. Just give them to me. Plunk this big backpack on the fucking pool table.
I've got an immigration patch and a U.S. Postal Service hat.
That's
I'm
cool.
worthless.
Yeah, that's pretty cool that people have sent to us. That's pretty badass. But definitely not this. So he is charged with impersonating a police officer and careless driving, and that he could end up in jail for a year, but he won't, obviously. Here, so he just gave police he gave his address as Ohio, but said he was a Westmoreland
from PA
County thing, but he's down there. Who knows? During his arrest, the police said that he was, quote, a perfect gentleman.
I'm sure.
And he did tell the officers that he was a boxer and he was the number 3 contender for the heavyweight title. And nice to meet you, gentlemen. Would you like to know my fucking flambe recipe.
Is number 3 that impressive?
Can you make a souffle?
You know, anybody could say that, I think, because nobody knows who the top 2 contenders
Fuck
are.
no. I know they probably have
say number 3.
Eastern European or Russian names, I assume. But yeah, you could say you're number 3, and anybody would believe that.
You'll get away with it.
You could totally get away with that. That's one of those things where you go, oh, yeah, okay.
Wow, number 3?
Number 3, huh?
You don't look
It sounds believable.
Yeah.
It's not too much of a brag.
Right.
You know?
It's a super humble brag.
It is. Like, yeah, number 3. Huh, really?
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah, it's like,
Maybe
you
it'll
know,
happen.
yeah, like, you know, our podcast, like, top 20 in comedy, but it's, you know,
It's a thing.
it's top 20. Like, we're not like top 5, but
No.
we're top 20.
Top 20.
It sounds cool.
I'll take
It's
it.
actually true.
Yeah.
But it's still, it's super weird.
I'm going with top 30 from now on.
Top 30, you know.
Top 3 flyweight.
Top 3, you know, flyweight, heavyweight contenders of the world. You should. Your look with the I would go with MMA. Just be like, yeah, no, I'm a UFC. Just make up a weight class and just be like, yeah, I'm the number 3 contender.
Number 3 zipper weight.
They'll be like, I don't know that one. Who else is in the zipper weight? You could just make up names. Oh, you know, Sergio
the rip saw.
Sergio the Flamingo Montadero. He's number 1, obviously. Yeah. He's the champion right now. We're all shooting for him. There's that. Then there's Ronald the Stork Hatchenstein. Right. He's obviously up there.
You've seen that.
It's a lot of bird puns, really. It's a lot of bird names in the lower weight classes because they're lighter.
Have you seen the Sparrow? He's fast.
Good. And then the Badger is number 2. I got to fight the Badger next week. He's going to be a difficult one.
But they call me the Hummingbird because I'm so fast.
I'm fast. I'm quick. I buzz around. So
I'm doing it.
He's a gentleman. I'm in the zipper weight. You should. He's a gentleman here. So that's fine. That happens. He spat. He shouldn't have said he was an officer, but he's like, maybe if I just give him his badge, he'll just let me go. He didn't realize he was going to have to fill out a card, I think. I think he thought if he just said it, they'd be like, oh, on your way, sir.
Right.
You know,
3? On your way.
Give him a salute.
Right.
No, I meant the badge.
Oh, yeah.
Westmoreland gag. You know what?
Obviously.
On your way with you. Get on back there. But
did you tell Bill we said hello?
Yeah, no, he didn't expect to be handed a thing to fill out. He's like, oh, shit.
Oh, boy.
This looks like I could get in trouble if I do this. Okay.
I thought you flashed the badge. You just leave.
Just walked away. Oh, never mind. They just waved you off.
I got to write shit?
Maybe throw me a beer or something for my ride. Something like that. So June 14th, 1982, a couple months later, he's in Las Vegas, and this is fucking hilarious. Okay. He's eventually charged with obstructing a police officer and battery with a deadly weapon.
Uh-oh.
Okay, this is what this starts out with, an argument between him and his lawyer.
Oh, wait.
He doesn't hit his lawyer.
Yeah.
That's a separate thing. The battery is on a police officer.
That's not good.
This isn't good. Okay, so the scuffle begins. Okay, his manager Archie, I guess, is his last name. Robert Archie is his name. He's at his lawyer's office, Robert Archie, and apparently there was some sort of argument between them, the two of them. Okay, it started. Police went there in response to a burglar alarm going off in the office, not because of fighting. They showed up because it's a response to a burglar alarm, and once they get there, they found Dokes and his lawyer there in the middle of a fight, arguing and, getting close, getting heated with each other. So apparently Dokes got all up in his face, and this guy had been asking him to leave, and he set off his burglar alarm on his desk to get the cops there because he thought Dokes was going to kill him because he's a fucking boxer and
panic button.
He's a lawyer.
Right.
So he's like, I'm going to get my ass kicked here. This might not be good. So at one point, the police decide to arrest Michael for not leaving when told to leave. It's like a trespassing thing, and then not wanting to leave when they're asking him to leave as well. So he says that they say at that point, they got everybody outside the office. Right. At that point, he just decided to walk away. He was just like, I'm just going to walk away.
Yeah.
You don't need to arrest me.
I'll leave now.
I'll just walk away. So as he starts to walk away, they said, no, you can't do that.
It's too late for that.
They told him to put his hands up on a tree for a search. Okay. They're going to search him. So, that's kind of what he says. The police say that he showed up and, he was in the middle of a fight with his attorney that the police were intervening in. Dokes says, quote, the policeman hit me before he even asked my name. He made me stand against a tree and then began searching me for firearms. I was wearing Sergio jeans that fit as tight as paper on the wall. I was wearing Sergio jeans. He said,
was hot.
He said, no, it's June in Vegas. It's real hot. Yeah. He says, no way I could have concealed a gun, which, I mean, you could see him in a pair of tight jeans. He said, then he started to put his hands in my pockets. That's when I grabbed his arm. I have street smarts. I know how cops plant drugs or dope just to get a guy they want. Okay, that's fair. Hey, that's fair. He said, quote, a scuffle ensued. A cop started hitting me with a P-24. That's an aircraft aluminum stick. It's a little metal baton. Sure. That's light and effective and very damaging. He messed.
Like he's reading the dictionary.
Yeah, and very damaging. Yeah. Then he gets to know the medical journal part of it. He messed up ligaments in my left hand and caused hemorrhaging in my right knee. Who the hell says hemorrhaging in my right knee besides?
Ligaments are these, and here's what hemorrhaging
was. Wow. Now, the police have a different version. They say that he resisted the search and punched a cop in the face and in the shoulder, knocking him into the street and bloodying his nose. Yeah. So, you have two different things. It's Vegas. The officer is Rod Harris, and he says, he punched him. Dokes says, well, he was hitting me with something called a P-24, and he says he came on the scene and told me to brace against a tree. He said he had to frisk me because I was said to be carrying a gun. Now, I was wearing tight jeans and a shirt, and if I had been packing a gun on me, surely it would have been obvious. This was the next day after the Holmes-Cooney fight. Larry Holmes and Jerry Cooney fought the day before. Mm-hmm. Cooney is a big white dopey guy, and it was strictly a race thing. Okay. So he's saying the cop was, I don't know, there was some sort of racial what whipped up from the Cooney Holmes fight, which, okay. He then says, blacks have very little rights in Las Vegas. I think he was obsessed with shaking me down because I was the biggest and blackest. Probably between him and his attorney, I would assume he was probably bigger, at least. He said, anyway, after patting me down and being satisfied I didn't have a gun, he started to stick his hands in my pocket. I said, wait a minute, what are you doing now? Can't you see I got no gun? And whoom, he hits me in the knee with the club. So I started running because I don't want him busting me up with that thing. He chased after me and swung the club again and missed. And there was his chin just hanging out, and there was no one around but me and God to tell me what to do.
And he blasted him.
He fucking just clocked the cop and knocked his ass out on the... he's a fucking heavyweight contender. He clocked the guy, hit him in the face and the shoulder, bloodied him up, put him to the
That's
floor.
The thing about those batons, you take a healthy swing, and that leaves you a bit vulnerable.
Also, you better, I don't know, if you're going to fucking hit a guy like that with a baton, you better make sure that I would approach someone like that more respectfully rather than saying we're going to match physical fucking wits here. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like someone who's clearly, like a heavyweight contender and a person much bigger than me and an athletic younger person in great shape. You might be like, let's try to make this go easy.
In giant
Let's try to be friendly.
Jesus.
Yeah, you don't want to fight with that guy.
Oh.
Christ almighty. So either way, and you don't want to hit cops either. You can't be punching cops.
There's two things here.
That's crazy.
Yeah. This is a shit scenario.
All of this is bad here. So, he says that, whatever. Moving on, that he's going to fight Mike Weaver for the title. Mm-hmm. This is to get a title shot finally, and they're looking for a location for it. They say they're going to fight on December 10th, and Dokes says, as far as I'm concerned, I'll fight him in his living room. They can schedule it there for all the good it'll do him. He thinks he's going to whoop his ass. He says talking about Weaver, will be getting a lot of bucks, so he should be satisfied on that count. I think he'll be making $1 million plus. He's making at least $500,000. He said, my end is still being negotiated. You see, I fought but twice this year. These are things to be considered, but I should get the $500,000. Definitely it will be my largest purse ever. But after December, I'll be the $1 million fighter. Mm-hmm. So he says...
For the championship.
For the champion, once you're the champion, then you can name you have a little more control.
Sure.
He says that it's become a different thing for him, boxing. He says boxing is more scientific with a lot more stratagems in the psychological sense.
Stratagem.
A lot more stratagems in the psychological sense. Oh boy. I've never tried to work on a specific thing for any opponent. Those kind of fighters who what they're going to do, they're the easiest to beat. Weaver's style is to lay back and build up his confidence, then try to come on with body shots and a more aggressive attack. But I'm not going to let him do any of that. He's 30 years old. I'm 24. Maybe the body betrays him. My attitude is that I'll kill or be killed. It won't go the 15 rounds. I'll be too anxious for that. Also, why prolong things? I'll go out there and be as concise as possible. Mm-hmm. And cordial. Mm-hmm. He didn't say that, but I'm sure he will be.
And educated.
Very educated. I'm going to give him a lesson in words and then vocabulary, and then we're going to fight. So December 10th, 1982, for the WBA heavyweight title.
Here we go.
He is fighting Mike Weaver. He's still mad about the arrest.
I'm sure.
Before the fight, he is talking to reporters, and he said, quote, "We blacks are still just slaves. Some of us just get paid more, but it's hard for others to attain anything." And he's getting almost $1 million for this fight, though. But he's pissed about how he was treated. I guess I understand. He says that he still harbors bitter memories from that. He says that he knows that it was because of Holmes and Cooney. Now, he fights at Caesars. It's Mike Hercules Weaver.
Hell yeah.
So he's 24-9 coming in. And this one does not go long. Michael Dokes knocks him out in the first round.
Wow.
Doesn't knock him out. It's a TKO. The fight is stopped.
That's awesome.
Everyone thinks this fight stopped too soon. Mm-hmm. But this is right after a man, Jesus, what is his name?
Yeah.
Kim. He's a Korean guy. I don't want to sound racist, but there's Kim Do-soon or some shit is in his name somewhere. I don't remember the whatever, but he had just went into a coma and died in a match that the ref waited too long to stop it. So for a little while,
I saw that fight.
I have, yeah. It was
tough to watch.
It's tough, man.
Oh, boy.
He doesn't look right at the end.
It's already over.
It's bad. So at this point in time, there's a bunch of fights that are getting stopped well beforehand because they don't want that to happen again. So anyway, everybody said it was prematurely stopped. The fans were chanting bullshit, and fix, and all that sort of shit. Then a brawl broke out inside the ring between the two sides.
Of course.
The two camps here. Basically, Dokes demanded the championship belt that the other guy had worn into the ring. And one of the brothers of Weaver, he didn't want to give him the belt. Mm-hmm. So then he ends up taking a shot, tried to punch Dokes. Why would you, as the brother who's not a fighter, try to hit the man who just knocked your brother out, who is a fighter, in a minute and a half?
See what
Why would
he
you
did
do that?
to your seed that has the athletic prowess?
That's what I mean.
Don't do this.
You're the shit one.
Right.
You're the floating turd. You're not going to fucking knock this guy out. I'll avenge the family. So, that ended up happening, and then the whole group started, and it was a big goddamn melee in the ring. And the announcer didn't even announce it. He ran out of the ring because it was a fucking disaster. I think he eventually got the belt, though. So they got everything calmed down, and everything happened. It was all fine. Dokes later on, Dokes and Weaver weren't mad at each other. It was
everybody else.
Everybody else, yeah. Dokes had his arm around him, talking to the press afterwards. He said, "I told him I loved him, and he said he'd ask God to bless me." So they're all happy.
Ask God to do it.
Ask God to bless me.
Can't you do it?
Well, he's not. What's a blessing from Weaver going to do?
God bless you,
He said, I'll ask God to bless you. I know him. I got it in. I'll ask him. I'll see what he says. I'll let you know.
I kind of like it that way better. There's nothing worse than some holier than thou person telling you, God bless you, all the time. I can't get it.
Relax.
I've heard plenty of it.
Yeah, I'm plenty blessed.
Thanks.
I'm good.
Appreciate you.
He said he's been blessed since birth, so it's all fine here. So he is 26-0-1 and has a portion of the title because there's 3 different heavyweight titles, but that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
He's the champion, Grace.
Oh, boy.
Hard Grace.
Yeah.
Let's call this a fucking
punch in the face, Grace.
Hard Grace.
Yeah. Punch in the Grace.
Punch in the Grace. Hey. So his mom was at this fight, one of the rare ones, and she said that he wanted him to go. So he wanted her to go, so she had to go. She did say before the fight that it was a hard time to get there because she said, quote, "I do have a choir rehearsal that night." Oh. I mean, my son's fighting for the heavyweight championship of the world, but I have to sing fucking Amazing Grace with the other ladies.
I have my schedule.
You know how it works. It would be ideal if I could go to the hotel and see Mike off to the Coliseum and then attend the rehearsal. That's what she wants to do, but she can't. She says that no, She says, "I wish he would find himself another occupation, and the sooner the better. He's up for the championship of the world."
The man just made almost $1 million.
I wish he'd find something else to do. She said, "I've been to his fights, but usually have to have been able to move about. When Michael came on, I was able to go outside or into the lobby. When I thought it was about time for the fight to be over, I'd come back in. The one time that failed me was last December. She's talking about the Weaver fight here. I got trapped at ringside. My brother and his wife came in from California, and they were seated with me, and that helped a little. She said it was still very painful. You have to understand, I'm upset the whole time. Throughout training and all, when Mike is getting ready to fight again, I worry. She's just worried about him. Normal mom shit. My mother would be the same way.
Yeah.
So the father, Gordon, he just will not watch Michael's fights, period.
He's out.
Won't go, won't watch, too worried, can't do it.
Or he did too much better than me.
Too stressful, I think it is. Doesn't even want to do it because it's like, oh, he's,
I know how hard that is.
Yeah, oh, shit.
That hurts.
So the family, though, is very modest. This is what I'm talking about. He's making a lot of money at this point, and they say, oh, is he like giving you a better life? And the mom said, quote, we have a 72 Buick that I bought last spring. So she bought a 9-year-old, 10-year-old used car. Fucking, not otherwise.
That doesn't tell me if you're doing better. Does that mean you're just frugal with all the shit he gives you?
She said, quote, I rode the Metro before and could again, but there are just times when having a car makes it easier. Yeah, I'm still working at the domestic service. No one ever should depend on her children. Michael has been dependable. He's been very good to his sister and brothers. Michael Dokes is not working, so Michael has picked up a lot of the pieces. Oh, Mr. Dokes is not working, so Michael has picked up a lot of the pieces. But they won't let him take care of them.
Ladies like her.
They're just
amazing.
They're those kind of parents that are like, no, that's what you do, and it's wild. That's old school.
We've got enough. We're fine.
Now, early 1983, I didn't mention this on purpose earlier. When he was an amateur, he fought Tim Doc Anderson. Yeah. Remember him?
Yeah.
He's a murdering crime and sports alumnus here. Right. Now, Doc Anderson ran into him again in early 1983, and Michael freaked Doc out. Doc's a murderer, mind you, okay? Right. Basically, he says they ran into each other jogging. They were both jogging in Florida. And they were like, oh, shit, Michael Doe? Oh, shit, dude, I don't remember you. Apparently, Michael didn't remember him for a while, and Tim had to remind him that he knocked him down.
Right.
And then he was like, oh, yeah, I remember you. You hit me in the face really hard.
Right.
Now I get it. So he said they went back to Dokes' condo to hang out for a little while. And Doc says, quote, Michael's condo was in clear view of the pool area. After our 5-mile run, we entered the condo so he could show me the belt. This is right after that. And he was like, oh, fuck, you want to see the belt, dude?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, I want to see the belt. So he says he was surprised by the fact that basically he had no furniture in his apartment at all, Michael. Just real sparse. He said there was a beat-up couch and a small table with a few mismatched chairs, but the kitchen was state-of-the-art. So he had it. That's all he cared about because he liked to cook, but he didn't give two shits about the living room whatsoever. Just didn't give a shit.
I don't care if those chairs are purple and yellow. Look at this Viking.
Check this out. Yeah, he said there were no pictures or paintings on the wall, just the WBA World Heavyweight belt that he won from Mike Weaver. That's his decor. He just hangs it on the wall. Put that up there for now.
Sounds like my place.
Yeah, right? With a big fish on the wall.
He had a big fish and a poster signed by Howard Stern.
There you go.
Nothing else.
Yeah. And a Broncos helmet that I gave you.
Yeah, right above the fridge.
Gravedigger. So he says that Anderson says that Dokes took the belt off the wall and put it on Doc's waist, show him what it felt like. Then he took him to the kitchen and he described it. He said it was his pride and joy.
Yep.
He said that he hoped to become a chef and open up a restaurant when he was done with boxing. That's what he was doing in there. He said he gathered up all his ingredients and shit to make him and Anderson protein shakes. And then Anderson was telling him that raw eggs don't do anything for you and you shouldn't put them in there. But anyway, they're supposed to get together and have a big meal. Dokes said, come over, bring a girl. I'll make a big fancy meal and we'll do it, right?
Make you a heavy meal.
I'll make you a heavy ass meal. So they come there, Tim and his girlfriend Jill and two of her stripper roommates.
Hell yeah.
All come over to Dokes' apartment.
I like it.
This sounds like a lot of fun.
Party.
This is a party here for a 7-course meal. Yeah, and Doc says it was, quote, prepared awesomely by the champ. And basically, also when he came in there, now he had all new furniture.
Now it's beautiful.
Now it's like he had like a decorator in or something before they got together. He said that it had a, quote, classy new ambiance now. So after finishing dessert, everybody's having cocktails except Anderson. As we remember, he was a teetotaler. Right. But then at that point, while they're all having cocktails, Michael slaps a big bag of cocaine on the table.
Now let's party.
Now we're partying.
Yeah.
So Doc and his girlfriend immediately excused themselves, they said, and drove and took off. He says that Anderson says that Dokes didn't show up at the gym for a few days. But
he's getting plenty of cardio.
He's doing fine.
Yeah.
He left him there with 2 strippers and a bag of cocaine. I think everything's going to work out just fine.
All the cardio in the world tonight.
Yeah, it's all good. So he said that he had a heart-to-heart talk with Dokes after that. He said, quote, "I tried to explain the pitfalls of drugs and alcohol as a friend."
You brought the man strippers.
We're the same age, stupid. What are you talking about? What are you, my grandfather? Fuck out of here with that shit.
You brought 2 strippers to his house and then left them there.
They're
and you're
fine.
Talk to him about morality?
Yeah, come on now. He said, "I said as the face of boxing, he needed to be a good example for the children. This is a murderer. He's a murderer.
You're a murderer, and you brought that man strippers.
A good example. A stripper delivering murderer.
Right.
Stripper delivery."
That was a test. I was hoping that you would turn them down.
If not, I'd have killed you. Because I do that also. Which I think that was episode 200.
Was it?
I think it was. I think that was our big 200th episode. It's a wild episode. Listen, check it out if you haven't heard it yet. So he said this needed to be a good example for the children. He says that he seemed to appreciate my sentiments. He also said the next evening, Dokes came to Solid Gold, which was a strip club where Jill and Tim were,
of course,
and witnessed him laying out lines of cocaine on a table for him and the girls. So, yeah, he's making friends at the strip club.
Yeah.
Either way, Anderson said he was hurt, confused, and appalled by it. Mind your own business. You're at a strip club in Florida in 1983.
You're not above anybody.
You're at a Florida strip club in 1983. Right. Everything has cocaine. If you order a Coke, there's filled with cocaine. Everything has cocaine in it. Remnants, residue.
They're still importing
the money
the
is covered in
with cocaine in it.
Dude, it's so much, at least there in Florida in the early 80s. So, yeah, he's hurt and confused. The fuck out of here. You fucking murdering asshole. So he said at the time we were in totally different directions, even though he was barely 3 months my senior. You know when else you were different directions? When you were murdering people, you dumb fuck. But actually, they come closer than you'd think.
The man's older than him, and he's trying to give him advice.
Yeah, shut up. I'm older. You're older than me, and you're the champ, and you're more successful in our both chosen things. But I'm going to give you advice.
Let me tell you what I would do.
Yeah. Fuck. So May 20th, 83, at the Dunes in Vegas, which no longer exists. This is again against Mike Weaver. Mm-hmm. Now, this one, Michael is out of shape as fuck.
Really?
Out of breath, out of shape. He just took that title and was like, I'm going to cook food and do coke and be happy.
Yeah.
Fuck strippers.
I like it.
And basically, after the 10th round, all Dokes does is hold him. Right. He's hanging off him like a fucking, drapes.
It looks bad.
He's out of gas. You can tell he's out of gas. He's just trying to prolong. Let's get this fight over with and not get knocked out. It goes all 15 rounds because title fights were 15 rounds back then.
Five rounds of hanging on to something.
5 rounds of hanging on. It's a draw.
Oh, what?
All that, and it's a draw. So that's the last shot Mike Weaver will get, and that's that. So he gets to keep the title, even though he almost pissed it away. 26-0-2. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, he says that, his trainer, Eddie Futch, says when he was in his late teens and early 20s, you could envision him being an all-time heavyweight great. And this was a guy who had been a trainer to Ken Norton, Joe Frazier, Larry Holmes. Mm-hmm. He knows his fighters a little bit. He said around Ohio, he was regarded as a wonderkind, but he got caught up in drugs real early, and that, combined with his lifestyle after he became champion, dulled his reflexes and ambition. And the director of boxing at Madison Square Garden said, quote, "There was no telling how good Dokes could have been if he had stayed clean. He had the best speed for a heavyweight I've seen. But when you're young, you think you're invincible."
Of course.
He sees all the heavyweights, too, as the MSG boxing director. That's a pretty big compliment. For Dokes, he says he just wanted to live in the moment and hang out. He says, quote, "I used to stay up all night. I was afraid I'd miss something." Yeah. Which then it's hard to work out and do road work in the morning. Go run 5 miles at 5 in the morning after you've been up all night.
Right.
He says that, just winning the belt didn't make him mature automatically. He said, "I wondered why everyone couldn't be happy, but the people around me showed me nothing but animosity and jealousy. I couldn't cope with it, so I tried to escape into money and more drugs."
Or maybe they care about you.
And you're on a lot of coke, and your brain probably isn't processing that correctly.
You're not seeing the emotion.
No, you're paranoid, and you're seeing people trying to come between me and my coke,
right?
Which is what I want. So no, stay away from my coke. September 23rd, 1983, at the Richfield Coliseum, which I think is where the first 2 Survivor Series was for WWF and WWE back in the day. Yeah. This is a fight here he's entering against Jerry Coetzee, and this is a real fighter, this guy. guy you got to take seriously. And Michael tells Sports Illustrated later on, first he denies it for years, but later on he admits it. He trained for the fight while on Jack Daniels and cocaine.
Awesome.
The whole time.
Oh, that's so cool.
Didn't get clean at all. Just drank and did coke, and he'd show up and work and then go home and he'd fucked up again and not be healthy and not be good. He had, everyone at ringside said you could see the white powder in his mustache. He had coke in his mustache during a professional boxing match.
He just did coke.
He had to have, like, somebody pinch my nostril. I got gloves on.
Right.
That's how soon he did that shit. The way he said later on, Michael says, quote, and this is the time period, I once did 2 kilos of cocaine in 9 months. He said, that's enough to kill a rhino in a good part of the jungle. I used to pour it on a piece of paper on the floor like you'd pour flour. With all the things I've done to myself, I should be dead.
That's so much.
Yeah, that is 4.4 pounds of cocaine.
In 9 months.
4.4 pounds. That's a lot. And it gets worse, too, later on.
What the fuck?
But yeah, 2.2 pounds a kilo. So, yeah.
Has any physician or chemist
That's wild.
just decided whether or not that's enough? Like if you can actually physically do that?
Oh, yeah, you can.
That's a lot.
Once your tolerance builds up, yeah. And especially him, if you're a guy who, thing is, too, if you're a guy who's got a healthy heart and you have good cardio and shit like that, it can withstand it. That's very dangerous. He could have had a heart attack or, at any point. Look at, like, Len Bias.
Right.
It happens. So,
do we know if Len was a habitual user, or was that just him?
From what I understand, he was just partying.
Just one night
I think he'd do it, here and there, but he wasn't like an everyday user or anything. He was just a partier.
That's why he's dead.
Yeah, if he had more of a consistent, it's what it is. You got to build up a tolerance. That's what happens.
Don't just go crazy.
Well, you see it all the time with people who, this is a thing, like when people quit heroin or when people, quit shit like that.
It lowers their tolerance.
Well, they quit for 6 months or 3 months or even a month, and then when they go back to it quick, they do the same amount that they did before, and they don't have the tolerance, and they die.
My friend did that.
You got to build it. Yeah, it's built up. You're like, oh, I can do that. Right. Oh, shit, no, I can't.
She fucking met a girl in rehab, and they became lovers, and then she got a job, and to celebrate, they decided they were going to use once. And that was too much.
Yeah. No,
too much.
Just once.
Yeah, just the once.
That'll help the job. That'll help the job, I'm sure.
I passed the drug test. Everything's good.
Great. He then said, quote, I became a connoisseur of drugs. A connoisseur of drugs. We've had the king of Rikers Island. We've had the king of cocaine. I'm a connoisseur of drugs we've never had before.
This is a man that knows what pairs well with.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like, I like this and this, and you want to do about 1/8 of an ounce of cocaine with that, actually. So you can do about an 8-ball. And it's
Colombian
perfect.
goes nice with a Chardonnay.
Oh, it's a beautiful Chardonnay. Oh, here, wait. Let me bring you the antipasta. The second course is gonna. That's the pairing you want.
Notes, it brings out the oregano.
It's oaky. He says, by the time I fought Coetzee, I was completely out of it. I would throw punches at him, but I really couldn't tell where he was. That's how fucked up he was. He was doing coke beforehand. Coetzee is the Boxberg bomber.
What's more dangerous, doing that much coke in 9 months or doing enough coke to get into the ring with a fucking killing machine?
That's wild,
and
dude.
Not know where he is.
I don't know where he is. I'm just swinging. This is a 28-3-1 fighter, so he's no joke. He's a South African guy, and this fight goes 10 rounds, and Michael is knocked out in the 10th round.
Good.
As he should be.
Right.
Wake-up call. 26-1-2 for Michael, and he deserved that loss.
Wake up and go to sleep call.
Yeah. He said that he was very sad about the whole thing, depressed. So he said he went back to Vegas and just kind of put his head in a pile of cocaine for a while, as you do when you're depressed. Yeah. He said, I was doing drugs before I won the title, but I was only a casual user then. I didn't become abusive until 83 or 84 when this all became a nightmare for me. He later on says that's not really true either. But it got out of control to the point where it bled into the ring later on, whereas before he could control it that much. January 84, Cohen, his manager there, Marty Cohen, knows he's a fucking disaster, knows he's on drugs, so he makes a proposition to him. He says, tell you what, there's a bunch of fighters in Australia. They have these camps out there. Let me take you to Australia, clean you up, get you back in shape. You're on another continent. You don't know anybody. You can't go get coke. You don't know shit. So he says, okay, and he does it. Marty said, Michael was destroying himself, and that was killing me. I had to do something for both of us. Yeah.
And Coke is crazy expensive in Australia.
I'm sure it is, probably even more back then. So he says that he's back there kind of just exercising, really getting himself into shape. Cohen says he's running, he's training, and I'm sure, just sure, he'll be all right now. Quote, he's good now. I'm sure he's all right now.
He said it.
He's good now. That is a silver. I'm sorry, Marty. You tried to help, but this is silver as shit. Being positive he'll be all right from a month of exercise in another continent will kill his cocaine addiction. I don't think that's really going to work here.
Actually saying it.
Yeah, I'm sure, just sure. He reiterated it too, like, I'm sure, just sure that he'll be all right now. Wow. But no. Now he says that, Dokes says that, you can blame people, but it's your own fault and shit. He says boxing definitely exposed me to a lot of people, all sorts of people, good and bad, but a person creates his own circumstances. What I'm searching for here in Australia is discipline, mental discipline more than physical discipline. I'm gradually returning to the ring. I've been a little sick, that's all. Yeah, a little sick. Cohen says his future is great. You'll see him return to the ring, and when he does, you'll see the Michael Dokes I knew 10 years ago.
All right.
Clean as a whistle.
Yeah.
August 31st, 84, back fighting Mike Jamison, a 12-7 fighter. By the way, whenever he has a bad fight or a loss, he fights the dorkiest looking white guy he can find every time. And this guy is just, mustached white guy standing there like, what's going on, pal? And he's going to get the shit beat out of him. So anyway, he's 12-7, this Jamison. It's a unanimous decision win. He is rusty a little bit here. 27-1-2. February 16th, 1985 in Kingston, New York. I don't know when the hell they have fights in Kingston. Versus Playboy Young Louie.
Oh boy.
Because that sounds like a rapper. Playboy Young Louie sounds like a 2004 rapper.
There's no first name?
Young. His first name is Young.
Really?
Young Louie.
Oh boy.
Louis, but
Isn't
Louie.
that good enough?
I guess a Playboy. Playboy.
I think Young Louie.
Young's pretty cool.
Impressive.
What's Young Louie. That sounds.
It's every SoundCloud.
Playboy Young Louie. That's a fucking rapper name. Someone out there use Playboy Young Louie, please, because it works, and it works, and it flows, and he's not using it anymore. So 14-8, he is coming in the Playboy. This is a round 2 TKO for Michael, so he's looking sharp. He said that people started asking him, well, how much coke were you doing? And he described pouring it on the floor.
Right.
He said, like pouring from a flour bag.
Right.
Quote, like pouring from a flour bag. I poured it out till it looked good. I didn't scale it or nothing. When it looked good, I'd stop pouring and start snorting. Sometimes I'd stay up for 6 or 7 days.
When you make a nice crust, that amount of flour, that's what I do.
It's like when you're making pasta, you make a well for the eggs in the middle. That's what I do. I make a well. He's going to make cocaine pasta. He's going to be the first one. People make weed-infused shit all the time now. There's TV shows on Netflix about it, but he's going to be the first one.
Cocaine pomodoro.
To do a nice, it's a nice linguine and a cocaine. Right. So you're going to like, it's a beautiful, we got the cocaine antipasto. You're going to like it so much. We have
Angel powder dust. That's what it's called.
The cocaine and cioppino is going to be beautiful tonight. That's our special. It's Jesus
Angel
Christ.
hair dust.
I like that. Angel hair dust. So, March 15th, 1985. This is for the vacant. This is a bullshit title. So it's the WBC, but it's like the America's heavyweight. It's like the Intercontinental belt in wrestling.
Right.
He fights Tex Cobb again.
Okay.
Here. This is stopped in the 4th. He wins if they stop it. But Dokes also had a real nasty cut on his head from a headbutt from Tex. Tex's head is the size
monster
of a Christmas ham.
It looks hard as fuck.
It looks like a big hard
It looks
head.
like it's been hardened over time.
But the thing is, it looks like you could punch it from anywhere in the room.
Right.
So look, if you were boxing me, just swing and you'll hit his head. Just
Doesn't
take a
look like-
whap, bap.
Doesn't
bap.
look like he'd feel it.
You
either.
might not hurt him, but you could really tee off on that big giant fucking thing. So he's 29-1-2 after this, and after this he heads to rehab.
Okay.
Now it's not just Australia. Now he needs professional medical help here, and he blamed the cut from the Cobb fight on his.
That's why he needs rehab.
He needs rehab now. Well, he said the cut from the Cobb fight, then the long layoff. I had a lot of idle time to revert to using drugs. It's called after fights. You're always going to have that. I used them to deal with the letdown. I became a total addict. I bought me some keys and I was gone. We'll talk about how many keys in a little while. Plurals. He said, drugs are progressive. I went from grams to half ounces to ounces. Then I went to the moon with kilos and half pounds. I snorted it. I freebased it. I drank it. How do you drink cocaine?
I'd like to know.
Wow. He is. Maybe he's making some champagne
putting in his Coca-Cola
cocktail. This is my version of a champagne cocktail. Here's a white wine spritzer. The spritzing is cocaine.
Trying to give it dessert.
Why not? October 7th, 1986. So he's talking about how he'd been to rehab and now good now.
Yeah.
October 7th, 1986, the SWAT team raids his home.
Oh, shit.
Not good.
No?
Not good. SWAT team busts through the door and they search around his whole house.
Mm-hmm.
They don't find shit.
Right.
They can't find anything.
Check the Riesling.
They find some cash and stuff like that, but I mean, he was a former heavyweight champ of the world. He should have some cash around.
Yeah.
So, they were just walking off. They said just as they were about to leave, somebody just knocked on a wall and said, it's a false wall.
Oh,
Turns out it's a false wall.
What's back there?
Police pulled out the wall, the false wall. He had 11 ounces of cocaine back there. 11 ounces, which is 5 keys.
Yeah.
So he bought 5 fucking keys of coke and just had them in his wall hanging out.
Awesome.
That's a shitload of coke.
Yeah.
That's like, I need some coke. I'll buy 5 fucking kilos of it. That is insane. What are you doing? That's so much coke, dude. 5 keys?
Today, there's no way they're letting you have that or calling it like personal use. That's
back then they charge him with trafficking.
Yeah, that's
they charge him
Yeah.
trafficking then too. He's charged with possession of controlled substance with intent to sell, trafficking in a controlled substance. It was all packaged. Like
today you don't get out of prison for that either.
No. They also seized $6,500, and he was being held there in lieu of $20,000 bail. So
that's it.
That's it. $20,000 bail. He's charged with all of that. 5 officers also had to subdue him when he resisted arrest because he's kind of the heavyweight champ of the world a little bit. So
fueled with cocaine
and fueled with just coke fucking coming out of his ears.
Just gas.
You're like, we're going to take you to jail. No, there's no cocaine there. So first of all, if he's buying 5 keys of coke at a time, you got to wonder how his finances are doing.
He may be doing fine.
Well, his manager, Marty Cohen, says he is. He says, quote, at the age of 53, he'll have $500,000 in cash, tax-free from a bond. So he's been investing his shit in long-term stuff for him, which I mean, this guy actually did well by him here. He's his unpaid financial advisor. He's just trying to help him out. He says that he will also realize money from a mutual fund that he has quite a bit of money tied up in, and also he has real estate that he's invested for him and all sorts of shit like that. So he says he has a bunch of stuff out there when he's retired, kind of tiered. So at this age, he'll get this, at this age, that'll come in. So he won't run out of money, basically.
Several things paying dividends.
You should really thank this guy for helping him. So February 26, 1987 is court for his cocaine. They end up letting him plead guilty to possession.
What?
Because they actually are convinced that it's for personal use. They find out through friends, through witnesses, through things that's how much coke he does. People say he pours it out of the fucking bag onto the floor in a big pile and you just jump in and snort it. Like, I've never bought any from him, but he'll give you a handful. Say, go ahead and snort it. Like, it's like flour to this guy. So the judge says, quote, it was almost something we would laugh at to see that much cocaine and it's not being sold. But it appears that Dokes has the financial reserves to buy cocaine like we buy potatoes and had no intention to sell it to others.
That's unbelievable.
That's what the judge said. You, sir, may fuck off 5 years probation. 5 years probation. So that's what he gets. 5 years probation.
Yeah.
He's ordered to work 200 hours community service and undergo treatment for his abuse.
But now he's in the system.
And he donated $6,500 in cash that was seized. He donated it to a halfway house for abused women. That was part of the deal as well. Yeah, all that was he was sentenced to do it, but he did it anyway. So we're going to give that money we already took, and we're just going to give it to people who need it more than you.
We'll donate it to some women that could fucking use some shit.
That aren't going to use it to buy mountains of cocaine. So
they just like a new bra since they left it all behind.
They left everything
with the guy that beats the shit out.
There's
of them.
women with one shoe. We're going to try to help them out instead.
Give them 2.
So, dude, This is ridiculous.
That's unbelievable.
He should be so lucky.
Yeah.
Just 11. If you got busted with 11 kilos and they were like probation, you'd be like, you'd be dancing in the street.
11 ounces.
11 ounces. Sorry,
5 kilos.
5 kilos.
Right.
So that's a shitload of coke.
That's a shitload.
That's a fuckload of coke. That's more than they would re-up on fucking on the low-rise towers in The Wire. They'd have less than that for a re-up. Do you understand?
And
that's for everybody.
Right.
That's for everybody to buy. This is just for him to have in his house. It's for the whole neighborhood to ingest. This is fucking crazy.
One guy.
So April 13th, 1987. Should still be counting his lucky stars 2 months later.
Yeah.
Instead, he is driving his 1987 Cadillac.
No.
In Vegas.
Upgrade from the Merc.
Yeah, he's speeding and swerving down a street in Las Vegas.
In a caddy.
Yeah, he is pulled over and ends up being charged driving under the influence of a controlled substance, being under the influence of a controlled substance, and a probation violation. He had coke on his mustache.
Yeah.
Like he was clearly gacked out of his fucking mind, speeding and swerving. Now, normally it would just be a $1,000 bond, but the probation violation means no bail.
Yeah.
He's got to be seen by the judge first and all of that shit. So remains in jail on that. The judge finally determines that, yeah, you're a fucking loser, and decides to sentence him to jail here, and he is sentenced to 47 days in jail is what he has to do out of this. And then after that, he has to enroll immediately, like on the way out of jail, in a rehab program, or he goes back to jail. That's the deal. And he says, quote, "That was the lowest point in my life
so far.
You, sir, may fuck off." Indeed. Yeah. He said, "The low point was when I realized no matter how much money I had, I couldn't get out of jail."
Yeah.
That's true. I was in 47 days because I violated probation. When I finally got my hearing, the judge told me I had 48 hours to get into rehabilitation. How'd I handle jail? Your mind is where your butt is. Okay? When I'm in the jungle, I act like Tarzan. At the ball, I act like a prince. In jail, I acted like a convict. Oh, that makes sense. He says that, this was the lowest point, and, he said this was even lower than what he did to get into jail, and that was crazy, he said, because his life had gotten completely out of control. He was even involved in, quote, a few shootouts.
Oh.
What are you doing?
Why do you have a gun?
Why are you shooting it at people, and why are they shooting at you? What's happening? I assume this is over cocaine, but...
You gotta assume.
Dude, what the fuck?
Why are you in those situations?
I don't know.
You've got enough money to not be in that.
Shit has gotten really out of control for this guy, right? So he goes through 4 rehabs in 10 months. Not great.
That's great. I love that.
4 in 10 months.
That's how bad he is. He needs a different rehab for each kilo.
Yeah, that's what it was. It's like one for each.
Right.
He said that it was also... when he was in recovery, he would do crazy shit too that he said wasn't really healthy. He says that he would feel like he could feel the urge to do it. So he said he would drag himself to his bathtub and get in the bathtub to try to feel better. And from the bathtub, he'd order lobsters to be brought from him from some restaurant.
Live ones for the tub?
No. Cooked. Just live ones. Just swim around with me. Take those rubber bands off him, too.
Live real dangerous in here.
That's how we do.
I'm not circumcised yet.
Man, you know what I'm saying?
I told you I'm Jewish. I want this.
I said it. I'll do it. I swear to God. He said, lobsters by taxi. I'd pay the driver, eat, and start feeling good. When I was up to it, I'd go down to the restaurant and pay my bill. In a few days, I'd start using again. So it was a cycle. December 17th, 1987. Okay, now this is when he starts fighting again. He is up from 220 pounds in his last fight to 245 now. Jesus. Which is a lot of extra weight. He's just got this big gut. You can see it.
Is lobster that fattening?
No, he's just not doing coke.
Okay.
And not exercising as much.
The butter.
He comes out from the dressing room and tells reporters, quote, "I'm clean, baby.
Yeah.
I'm good now." Cohen, his manager, said, quote, "My man is clean. Michael is going to make it all the way back. He can beat anybody.
Okay.
He's good now."
Right.
All right. Well, the Felt Forum here. He fights Kevin P. Porter, 13-5 guy.
P.E.?
P. Initial. Yeah, his nickname is P. Sometimes there's not a joke in everything. That's the problem with it. I know we try, but
get it.
That's not going to work.
The guy, he puts his middle initial in there?
Yeah, Kevin.
As a boxer?
Because he goes by KP Porter.
Got it.
That's his normal thing, but it's Kevin P. Porter, so whatever the fuck. TKO round 5 for Dokes. That's good. He didn't fucking shit out of it anyway. He said he was pleased because his opponent hit him good and he stood up to it. He said, he caught me with a left hook and I didn't see Mickey Mouse, so I guess I'm all right.
Okay.
I didn't dream of Mickey Mouse.
Got it.
I don't know what the fuck.
I've never seen him.
He said, now I go into the second stage of training, not being a fat fuck.
Yeah.
He said, Nautilus, weights, trees. I try to get down another 15 pounds. What's he doing with trees?
I don't know.
Climbing them, running with them? What the fuck are you doing with them?
Nautilus?
Chopping them down?
Is that a workout? Is that a thing?
Like Rocky IV?
I don't know.
You run up with a big log? Or is he chopping them down, maybe?
Oh, I could see that.
That'd be a workout. He's in Florida. Where's he chopping trees down?
Firewood? Is he going out into the Everglades?
I don't know what's happening here.
Chop those down pretty easily.
Probably,
right?
Yeah. I think they're pretty thin. You get an axe.
It's just cattails.
Just a machete, I think, would work. He said, I'll try to get down another 15 pounds. He says, I'm going up. I'll fight again next month. I want to fight every month. I'm at the bottom of the barrel. Yes, he is. So he's 31-2 as he beats the shit out of the Porter guy. January 22nd, 88, he fights in Atlantic City. He TKOs some nobody in 7 rounds. 31-1-2. And, he says he feels like he's all the way back now.
Yeah.
Feels like he's all the way back. But his manager Cohen said that, he said he thought he could help him, but then after a while, even he started to become convinced that Dokes was unhelpable here, because he kept doing shit. He said, quote, he started moving in a very fast lane and hanging out with some very bad people. As soon as he'd go back to Las Vegas, you could expect trouble. Which is a problem because he lives there.
Right.
That's an issue.
He's living in Vegas.
Yeah, he lives there for the boxing, and
he's not married and no kids.
No kids, never
That's
married.
Impressive.
Yeah, he never got married, never had any kids.
Yeah.
Good for him. But he likes the ladies, though. He just always has a lot of ladies, 3 or 4 at a time. Just never picked one he wanted permanently, I guess. Or none of them wanted him. I don't know. February 24th, 88 at the Felt Forum, which is the small arena in Madison Square Garden. Okay. It's like it's another floor where they hold, it's like 4,500, 5,000 seats, versus Eddie Richardson, a 13-10 fighter. Michael TKOs him in 10 rounds. Not bad, 32-1-2. April 28th, 88 at the Felt. This is for the same thing, Continental America's heavyweight title, which is bullshit. James Pritchard he fights, who's 18-1 coming in, so not bad. TKO in 7 for Michael, 33-1-2. June 27th, 88 at MSG. He's not fucking around. It's every month pretty much. He fights Andrew Stokes, 12-4-1 coming in. This is a TKO in the first round. Michael knocks him down 3 times, and that's the rule there. Yeah. So 3 knockdown rule in effect. That's the end of that fight. 34-1-2 for Michael. So he seems to be making a comeback.
Yeah.
July 28th, exactly a month later, 88 at Felt Forum. Manuel D. Alameda, 3-6-2 coming in, and this guy does not come out for the 5th round, so that's he quit. And a lot of times that happens. They won't come out for the 5th round or for a round. Yeah. And so Michael wins that one, 35-1-2. September 29th, 1988. Things are going great. Right?
It's back on track.
On track. Yeah. He's fighting every month. He's winning. He's fighting. Well, he fought a little too much. Yeah. Apparently, mainly with his girlfriend is the problem. It wasn't a sanctioned fight, and it wasn't in a ring. It was in their apartment.
Oh, no.
And he beat the shit out of her.
Really?
Yeah, he broke 6 of her ribs and her jaw.
That's too much.
That's crazy.
That's a beating.
That's a beating. They lived in Los Angeles at the time, and this was outside their Los Angeles home. He did this outdoors.
Sustained punching on a woman outdoors.
An alfresco domestic violence is not okay.
Wow.
You can't do that.
No.
That's not, I was using it for his terminology. Yeah.
I got it.
What the fuck? Just for him.
It's a real chilled beating.
That's what it is. It's
in L.A., that's highly frowned upon.
Would you like a beating on the patio or in the main dining room? You know what I'm saying?
Nice out today.
What the fuck, man? He's taken into custody by sheriff's deputies. They responded to a call of an assault in progress by one of the neighbors. Hey, there's a guy beating the shit out of a woman here.
Large man, little woman.
Large man, small woman.
Yeah.
So, her name, Michelle Woods. They were both 30 at the time. And, they found Dokes and them outside arguing, and she was suffering from multiple injuries, declined medical treatment at the scene, would not take it, but she ended up going to a private doctor. She just didn't want them involved, the police, to be involved in the whole thing.
She's got broken ribs.
Broken jaw.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, one of the officers said he was quite agitated when deputies arrived, but he did not resist arrest. Well, he learned his lesson on that one, I guess. So she sought private medical treatment and was told that she had broken jaw, 6 broken ribs, and then bruises and contusions. He beat the shit out of her.
He literally bodied her. Like he treated her like
he hit her with a combo.
Like a real, yeah.
He set her up
like
with the left and right.
Match.
Yeah, that's fucking wild. He went to the body, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, a lot.
That's wild.
6. You don't do that with one punch.
Maybe if big old heavyweight champion hands, you could probably get 6. Or that's maybe 2. Who knows? So October 27th, 88, he's fighting again. Doesn't matter. Domestic violence in boxing isn't a concern.
Same
I'm sure.
fight.
Same fight.
Yeah.
Felt for him. He fights Curtis the Coffee Man Isaac.
Okay.
That's because he's like, I used to sell coffee on the street. Then I started fighting. And he's 12-6. This guy.
They pulled me out of section 203.
Hey, it's pretty cool, right?
Up
I
there.
said, coffee! They were like, you got a strong voice, pal.
Right.
You know, how's your right hook? Here I am.
Yeah.
I'm 12-6. I could do it. TKO in the 4th round for Michael, 36-1-2. So he can beat up coffee vendors as well as women.
Yeah.
Good for him. December 9th, 88 at Convention Hall in Atlantic City. He fights Rocky Sikorsky, who's 22-8. This is a unanimous decision win. He's 37-1-2 now. That's the end of 88. And the Ring Magazine named Dokes the comeback fighter of the year for 1988.
He just beat up a woman.
Just beat up a woman.
What the fuck?
But he's not in jail anymore and he's winning fights, so that's better than his 87, I guess. But they ignored that one thing. Isn't he great? Let's celebrate. He had 6 successful fights in the ring and 1 outside the ring.
He's not being arrested for kilos of coke.
That's helpful, but still,
I'd
rather have him be. He's not hurting anybody if he's snorting coke in his house. I don't care about that. Don't punch women.
He's blasting his girlfriend in public.
In public. That's disturbing.
Wow.
March 11th, 1989, at Caesars in Vegas, he fights Evander Holyfield.
Really?
This is a 20-0 Holyfield. Holyfield on the cusp. Yeah. This is right after this is when he wants to fight Tyson, and he becomes the huge star that we knew him as in the 90s. This is the very beginning of it here.
It's the beginning of the real deal.
This is his first big test for Holyfield, where you're going to fight a real fighter. Holyfield, before the fight, said, Dokes is a good fighter, but he's not too worried about it because he believes that Michael's damaged his body too much to be a serious contender.
Oh.
So Mike says about this that...
a healthy jab.
Yeah, he's like, what are you talking about? He believes that he's fine. He said, I've never had a heart attack, a stroke, or brain damage. I'm fine.
I don't have any cardiovascular problems.
Yeah, he goes, we're just talking about putting impurities in your body. I don't know if Holyfield drinks alcohol. I take supplements that strengthen my body outwardly and inwardly. I take ginseng, a Chinese Korean remedy that heals you inside.
We know what ginseng
We get it. Maybe in 89, though.
Maybe not.
Yeah. I've been taking it 2 years straight. It slows aging, gives you endurance. I take amino acids to revitalize my muscles. I feel better than when I was 24. I've had 2 years of cleansing, no alcohol, no beer, not even aspirin for headaches. I've visualized this fight so many times and not once have I seen the ref raise Holyfield's hand. So, yeah. And
sounds like every clerk at GNC,
He's going to work. Yeah, I'm taking all these supplements, and that's fine. Him and every 48-year-old woman and every 55-year-old guy who's going to try to get back into shape.
Let me tell you about ginseng.
Jesus, that'll do it. Yeah, they sell it in packets at the gas station. It's probably not an effective medical treatment for anything.
It's in almost every tea.
Yeah, exactly. So Lou Duva, who's the trainer of Holyfield, said, if anything happens, blame me. I picked Dokes. Hey, we keep telling people that if Evander is a legitimate title contender, we have to prove it. People say we've been trying to do it with mirrors. Dokes ain't no mirror.
Got it.
They needed someone that people respected that wasn't a pushover, basically.
He's saying he picked him as his opponent, not as we're betting on Dokes.
Exactly. I picked him to win the fight. I'm not going to lie. I mean, I'm hoping Holyfield does it, but...
I'm on Holyfield's team. I trained him. He's a great guy.
But money at 6-2 on the other guy. I'm not going to lie.
Pays a little better.
I mean, it's the way it is. You try to take the dollar wherever you can. You know what I'm saying?
I was a little confused for a sec.
Yeah. So this is an amazing fight.
Really?
This is a fucking war. Mm-hmm. They beat the shit out of each other for 10 rounds.
Awesome.
It is awesome. Michael ends up suffering a TKO loss in the 10th, but man, is it a fucking war. I mean, it is a goddamn battle. We'll talk about how good it is. Holyfield said, I'm glad it's over. He said that Michael Dokes is a great champion. He did kick the cocaine habit. Throughout the fight, I'd shake him with one punch, but he'd be able to shake it off. I didn't want him to shake it off and come back again. So he has respect for him now. Cohen, who's now 91 years old at this point in time, said that Michael lost tonight, but it was a heroic loss. Any other heavyweight tonight except Tyson would have been knocked dead. The Ring magazine named the Dokes Holyfield fight the best, one of the best heavyweight. They had like a top 10, one of the best heavyweight fights of the 1980s. So of the entire decade, it was. Oh, I'm sorry, the best heavyweight fight of the 1980s. Number one. It was on the list. So yeah, best heavyweight fight of the 80s that he's involved in. It was a war.
89?
89. It was a fucking war. July 13th, 89, he fights Bobby Crabtree, a blonde guy.
Yeah.
He beats up a white guy after every he lost, and he's going to beat up a blonde. Find me a blonde guy.
Right.
I mean blonde, a ginger, something. No, not. That guy's fucking Greek. I want a fucking I want like a German or like a Swede or somebody I could really
somebody
pound
with a
the piss
bald
out of.
ass. That's what I want.
I'm looking for here. So Bobby Crabtree is 35-20-1. A minute 46 it takes for Dokes to knock him out. He is this is a tomato can to push over here, basically. Now, August 24th, 89 at the Felt, he fights Wesley Watson, TKO in 3 rounds, 39-2-2. He's back at the Forum in LA on November 13th, 1989, fighting Lionel Washington. And TKO in 8 rounds there, 40 wins, 2 losses, 2 draws. February 5th, 1990, back at the Forum again. Jorge Alfredo Dascola, otherwise known as El Gringo.
Oh. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't sound like it from your name. Seen a picture of him.
Right.
He's from Argentina, so I don't know. Whatever.
Not much of a gringo.
14-2 he is. TKO round 11, 1-2-2. April 4th, 1990. Michael's still 240 pounds at this point, okay? He talks about this next fight that he's fighting Razor Ruddock, who was a great fighter, at Madison Square Garden, but he has fantasies of, rather than doing that, he wishes he was coming out to wrestle Hulk Hogan or the Ultimate Warrior at Madison Square Garden. That's what he wants. He said, quote, "I would be the Dark Destroyer or maybe the Handsome Stranger." He said that would be his wrestling name. Sounds like shit, right?
Handsome Stranger's terrible.
You think so, right?
Terrible.
Well, 1 year later, in Global Wrestling, which was based out of Dallas, it was on ESPN, Marcus Bagwell, better known as Buff Bagwell, Buff was known as what, Jimmy? The Handsome Stranger. How do you think he came to the ring?
Well, did he hand out roses?
Handed out roses to the ladies at ringside. Literally, Bill Eadie, who was at Demolition X, who was the guy booking it at the time, read the fucking paper and stole it.
Loved it.
That is too much of a coincidence that less than a year later, there's a guy with the exact gimmick that he just said.
Fuck.
That sounded like shit. And he was like, well, that sounds good. So Bill Eadie reads the newspaper is what we find out from that. Ridiculous. So Ruddock comes in. It's a TKO loss this time for Dokes. Ruddock was nasty. He was a nasty son of a bitch, Razor Ruddock. His nickname was Razor. That's pretty cool. Yeah. He's going to fuck you up.
It's pretty rad.
So 41-3-2, but they each make $500,000 for that fight, so that's not bad. January 14th, 1991, Marty Cohen said his phone rang early on a Sunday morning, and he said he knew it was coming. He could sense something was wrong.
Oh, boy.
This is bad for a 92-year-old man at this point.
He's got coke into
Keep me out of this shit. What are we doing? He said, quote, "I knew Michael was in trouble." He said he hurried out of the door to catch the next flight to Las Vegas. He's in his 90s. Leave this man alone.
Hurry?
Right?
He didn't hurry very.
He said he shuffled. I shuffled out, shuffled right onto that flight. He said, "I really don't know what's going on." Well, what happened was Michael got arrested again. He was driving a Mercedes, which he was stopped for speeding on US 95, and told he was under arrest. He said he wasn't going. No, thank you. That's not a thing that you can do. Just, no, thanks, I'm good. And he ran away from his car.
On foot.
On foot. He ran from his Mercedes on the street, which I don't know what there's no forethought there.
So far, he's doing so much better in every arrest. Like, he's stopped in a Merc, then he stopped in a Caddy. Now he's got a Mercedes. It's
getting better.
So far upwards.
It's getting better.
This is the exact opposite of usual.
Totally. So why would he run away from his car? Well, when he ran away, he tossed a bag containing a white powder from his pocket into a parking lot as he ran, and the police saw it, picked it up, and it's cocaine. Hey, shocking. Whatever. They found Michael hiding in a vacant lot. Not good, man.
Hiding in behind one of those parking blocks?
I picture him like behind like some steps, like peeking over the thing,
standing sideways behind a street light,
like a kid whose mom is mad at him and looking for him. Well, he's got a big old gut now. He's not hiding behind any street light. You'd see who's that big fat motherfucker hiding behind that street light? You see an afro and Jerry curl at this point, and then a big gut. So he's booked for cocaine possession, influence of a controlled substance, resisting arrest, destroying evidence, speeding, failing to register with police as an ex-felon. Something you have to do in Vegas at the time. Okay. I don't know, because it was a gambling thing. That way, when gangsters came to town, they'd have to register, or else they could arrest them for not registering. Okay. It was a way to fuck with Italians. If I'm being honest, you want honesty? It's a way to fuck with Italian people. That's what it was.
It's not a very gracious thing to do for the people that built your city.
No, it's not. But that's how they tried. When they wanted to muscle us out and bring in the fucking corporations, that's how they tried to do it. So, fuck your mothers, all of you.
We all have jobs. Thank you for that, and we'll now arrest you for this.
There you go. So, he's released, posting a bond of $9,800, and there he is. Mm-hmm. Where is he now? Rehab.
Really?
Back at rehab here. He's in rehab. He said he roomed with an alcoholic who said he drank over a quart of vodka a day, and he said that his roommate's withdrawal really fucked him up. Yeah. He didn't like it. He said, quote, he couldn't walk, he couldn't talk, he sat with a towel over his face, he thought things were crawling on him. Scariest thing I ever saw, ugliest thing I ever saw. From booze. God. So he's in there, and he's in there, but he's like, fuck, man, I want to cook. Yeah. He's in rehab. This isn't his normal thing. He likes to cook. He likes to, he's got a certain style. He wants to make clothes. So he's like, I got to make this better for myself. Who can I call? Only one man. Yeah. And it's Dexter Manley, interior designer from New York City. And he says, how is it that you've come to arrive here? Yeah. Like, seriously, you're in rehab again? Sir, listen to me. Yeah. You've beaten your girlfriend, outside. Right. Like, it's one thing to have domestic fun. No one should be hitting anyone. Jesus, keep your hands to yourself, mister. But
behind closed doors.
In the house, Jesus Christ. You know what it is when you do it outside? It's white trash.
That's trash.
It's white trash. That's what sir, I'm sorry. You are white trash, sir. I'm sorry. I see it all. You're being pulled out. You're running in the streets from police, flinging baggies of coke. No. So if you have it, just say, here it is, officer. I'm going to be arrested now. Right. I'm a rich man. I have a lawyer, and I'll take care of it. You don't run away like white trash, which is what you are. Sir, you're white trash. I don't care how big your afro is. Right. White trash. Poof. And in a poof of boas and glitter, he's gone. And Michael really had a couple questions for him, and he's pissed. He's like, I wanted to know shit. I had some questions about his outfit. I like that boa. I want to see
those pants.
He's like, I could have made him better pants, man. He was into the whole thing here. So November 29th, 1991, Michael fights in Vegas, and he weighs 277 pounds.
That's big.
That's real big. Yeah. That is 57 pounds heavier than his best good fighting weight of 220.
Likely not athletic 270.
No. And he's fighting John Big Red Morton.
Hell yeah.
One guess on what color he is.
Red.
He's had a hard time. So he's 10-18 coming in. Yeah. Michael wins with a unanimous decision. Then he fights Tyrone Armstrong, KO in the fourth, which is a good win for him there. Then he fights at the Union Plaza Casino Danny Stonewalker, TKO in the sixth. Then February 14th, 1992, he's down to 254 pounds now. Okay. He's doing better. He's at the Aladdin in Vegas. He fights Dan Wofford and knocks him out in the ninth. So he's 45-3-2, doing well. March 21st, 1992, he's still 254. Hasn't gained any. That's good. He's in Cleveland. He's fighting Purcell Magic Davis.
Yeah. Well,
Magic. He's magic. He's 14-2. And Purcell magically doesn't come out for the sixth round. He magically sits on his stool and stays there.
Made himself disappear.
He's like, maybe they won't notice me. Right. I can just disappear. So that's a win. So yeah, things are going well. People are talking to Michael again, and they're asking him about his life. And he said, quote, I'm glad that now I did those drugs. Because it took me somewhere I didn't want to be.
Okay.
Coming back, you can't even imagine. To rise to the point where I am now, it gives you strength that you can believe. I'm good now.
Right.
He said, everything is different for me now, and I don't do drugs or drink. My lifestyle, my thought patterns are different. I evaluate things more thoroughly now, more in depth, and the people I surround myself with are good people. They're not envious, vindictive people. Yeah.
Okay.
So he's fighting April 16th, 1992. He's down to 239 pounds.
Good.
Not bad. He fights Danny Smiley Sutton. Why would you call yourself Smiley if you're a boxer? That doesn't sound tough.
I feel that somebody else did that.
I'm sure.
And he just hung on to it because he loved it.
Sure, why not?
Yeah.
Maybe. My mom told me to use it because I'm very happy. This is a third-round knockout for Michael, 47-3-2. July 28th, 92, back up to 258 again.
Okay.
So that's all right. He's at Harrods, Atlantic City. He fights Jesse the Boogeyman Ferguson, who that's a unanimous decision win again, 48-3-2. Then he fights down in Miami, 258 pounds, by the way. Jose El Nino Ribalta. So he causes the weather patterns. Good for you. 31-8-1. Very nice. Unanimous decision win for Michael. October 27th, 92, in Phoenix, he fights Mr. Smooth, Barry Forbes.
92?
92.
Where the fuck did they fight?
Well, I believe it's Club Rio because he has another fight at Club Rio later on.
Really?
Club Rio.
They
He fights
did boxing there?
We've had another guy fight at Club Rio, too.
I don't remember that.
It was recently, the last 6 months, I would say.
Good Lord.
This is Mr. Smooth's last fight because he loses. 50th win for Mike, though. 53-2. Not a lot of guys have 50 wins in boxing.
That's a very impressive record.
50 wins, 3 losses,
Yeah.
2 draws is fucking, you'd look at that and go, wow, I'd love to have that record in anything.
And one of those losses was to Holyfield.
One of those losses was to a prime Holyfield. Yeah, it's not bad at all.
Pretty impressive.
It is. February 16th, 1993. This is his big chance here. Basically, he's meat for Bo.
Yeah.
Riddick Bowe needs a title defense. We talked about Riddick Bowe in our Riddick Bowe episode. It was awesome. Riddick Bowe is the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world at this point.
Yeah.
He's the biggest thing there is, and basically they need meat for him. They need somebody that he can just beat the shit out of that's a legitimate heavyweight.
Right.
So Michael Dokes is your perfect guy. And he's going to fight Riddick Bowe. Riddick Bowe is 32-0 and really good, height of his powers.
Yeah, if you're looking on paper and you don't know much about boxing, you see those 2 records against each other, you can't wait to see this.
That's what I mean.
It's awesome.
February 6, 1993, this is. He's down to 244 pounds for this, too, so he took it seriously. Same weight as Bo. Bo is 244 as well.
In shape.
They weigh in exactly. He still looks heavier. That's light for Bo, heavy for him.
Okay.
So before the fight, he's got a lot to say.
Yeah.
He's in a restaurant right before he goes to the arena.
He's eating dinner first.
Yeah, we'll talk about what he's eating because that's the most hilarious part. He says, I always knew I could fight for the heavyweight title again. That's the only reason I'm here. And you know why? Because I can fight. If nothing else, I can do that. He says, this is going to be a war. Bo talks about my looks, but he must be thinking we're going to a beauty pageant. I've got news for him. This is no beauty pageant. It's a war. This story couldn't have been written any better if I'd written the script myself, but I wouldn't take any of what I've gone through for the world. So he's going to do it, man. He's going to do it. They asked him about, did you miss being champion? And he said, I don't miss nothing. Okay. That was then. This is now. I don't dwell on anything. Good. That's good. He said, to me, one of the great successes in life is to be able to forget the past and get on with my life. Why carry all this baggage from 1982? Isn't that going to determine what I'll do in 1993? It won't help me pay my bills. No. Fair enough. He said, look at me. He's sitting in his restaurant at this point. With all my bleeding heart, I can tell you honestly, I believe in myself and my ability. I have no qualms, no hang-ups, no remorse, no resentment, no guilt. There's nothing. There's been no training. There's been no missing training, no women, no alcohol. This thing with Bo is the second biggest fight of my life. I won the big battle over drugs. My conscience is clear. I found the inner strength to deal with my turmoil, and there is nothing greater for a man than belief in thyself.
Okay.
He literally said thyself. Wow.
Yeah.
Before the fight, by the way, while he's saying all this, he's doing it in between bites of food.
Yeah.
Pre-fight, guys don't usually eat a lot. If they do, it's some protein beforehand, lean protein shit, whatever.
Maybe a couple of lobsters in the bath.
Definitely not carbs.
No.
You don't carb up right before a fight usually.
Yeah.
You definitely don't eat pasta.
No.
No. But he is eating a giant plate of pasta and baked sole as well on the side. Yeah, baked sole. So they asked him, why are you doing that?
Yeah.
What's going
That
on?
seems crazy.
That's crazy. You're going to have the heavyweight champion of the world punching you in like an hour.
Right.
What are you doing? He says, this is so short I can't do it in their own words, but it's worth it. He says, Jesus Christ, quote, "The past is history, the future isn't here yet, and the present is linguine and clam sauce." And then he ate the rest of his food.
And then he went and fought.
Then the present is linguine and clam sauce.
He should know that doesn't go well.
Wow.
That's not a good pairing.
He makes $750,000 for this fight.
Really?
That's not bad. Yeah. Bo's the champ. It's a pay-per-view.
He put that shit in his belly and went and fought Riddick Bowe.
Didn't care. $750. $750. Line it up. Fuck it. In Madison Square Garden, Bo, like I said, undisputed champion, 32-0. This fight only lasts 2 minutes and 19 seconds.
Right, because he's got a belly full of fucking linguine and clam sauce.
He's got a prime of his life heavyweight champ pounding the piss out of him. Not going to work here.
Linguine doesn't pair well with a belly punch.
No. 50 wins, 4 losses now. Jesus, that's the dumbest thing ever.
He had to have shit like mad after that.
Oh, he probably shit his pants when he got punched.
Yeah.
Shot Linguine out the back of him.
That'll fall out fast.
Jesus. August 1993.
Gravity's bad enough with that.
Yeah. I'm telling you, man. It's fucking rough. He's going to get punched, too.
What an idea.
What an idea. August 1993, he's driving his 1991 Lexus.
Mm-hmm.
He's driving, it's a white 2-door. He's driving north on US 441 near Oakland Park in Lauderdale Lakes. It's 6:20 a.m. He turned right to head east on Oakland Park Boulevard. He had the right of way, but he took the turn wide into the other lanes of oncoming traffic where there was no traffic coming. But what was there was James Richard Truitt, who was an Orlando Sun-Sentinel newspaper vendor on the street selling to cars when they stop at traffic, like Bubbles in the Wire there. Yeah. That's what he's doing, the same thing. He hits him. Dokes hits him with the car pretty good. No. He hit the hood, went up the windshield, and fell onto the pavement. He's airlifted to Broward General Medical Center in Fort Lauderdale, where he's treated for head injuries. They said he suffered head lacerations, bumps, and bruises. The hospital spokesman said he's a lucky man that he survived. They said speed was not a factor in the accident, just the fact that he took the turn too wide. But they're pending results for a blood alcohol test because Dokes' speech was slurred, which we'll find out might not have been the alcohol. And he had trouble walking, which, again, injuries and ever. But the problem is he reeked of booze, they said as well. They said that Dokes told them that he had been drinking as well. But Dokes said that he denied that he was drinking later on. He said, quote, "I told them I had one cocktail 4 hours earlier," 2:30 in the morning, probably closing time or whatever. He said, at that time of the morning, who wants to be drinking? Alcoholics,
people like to drink.
That sort of thing. And he said that the windows were fogged up on the car early morning the way it was. Windows were foggy, and he said, quote, "I couldn't see where I was going." So he couldn't see the lane, and he hit this guy. Luckily, the guy survived, and he was okay. He stopped after the accidents. Deputies arrived. They noticed that he was unstable on his feet. They smelled his breath. He gave a blood sample, and like I said, admitted that he was, whatever. Now, the police say they're going to investigate the whole thing. He says it's not unusual for our traffic homicide people to take time to put together a case. It's not a situation where we need to charge him immediately. A lot of the evidence has to be developed, and the toxicology tests will take several days before we know what his alcohol level was. November 8th, 1995, he's fighting again in Aurora, Illinois. He is 275 pounds. He fights Dave Slaughter, as in Lamb's to the, because he's fucked, knocked him out in 3 rounds. This Dave Slaughter's a 5'29" fighter. So what do you want there?
Not exactly Sergeant.
Not exactly the Sarge there. July 27th, 96, he's up to 288 pounds now.
Oh, boy.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's fat.
That's some
He's so fat, dude. He's so fat. This is the Lucky Eagle Casino in Rochester, New York.
Oh, no.
Long way from Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
The Aladdin. This isn't even the Dunes.
This isn't even the Riviera.
Right.
He fights Dave Fiddler, who's not even a fighter. He's an actual fiddler. He just comes to the ring playing, and he's like, and he beat him up. He's 14-19-2, the Fiddler. KO in the second round for Dokes. 1997 comes along. By the way, he's 52-4-2. 1997 comes along. He wants to fight, but New Jersey and Florida won't license him. due to brain damage.
Okay.
They don't want to give him a license due to the brain damage. And he's like, what the fuck, dude? He goes, it's really hard to get licensed now. No one wants to license me. And he said, this is his quote. Well, let's do it in our own words on this one, because this is truly one of the most bonkers fucking things ever. Brain damage, here it comes.
Yeah.
In their own words, quote, what the hell? If I slur a word here and there, what do you expect from a guy who's been fighting 30 years? I can still enunciate. I can still communicate. I'll take their EKGs, their EEGs, and CAT scans, but I can do everything everyone else does, and in a lot of cases, do it better. So what if I slur my words once? That shows brain damage. That's the point.
Right.
That's a good indicator. You can't even, your brain's not communicating to your mouth the words how they need to come out.
Right.
That's how fucked up your brain is. Do you get it?
That's incredible.
Yeah. That's why I was saying I don't know if he was slurring because he was drunk. He might have been slurring because he's punch
He's got
drunk.
some problems, yeah.
But he says that he's going to, he's going to do great. He says he's not doing drugs. He says, now I don't even think about this stuff. Now I work out a little, go eat sushi, get home to watch Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy. I'm planning on getting married in July. They never get married. I'm thinking about working at a casino job too. I'm great with people. I'm colorful and can run my mouth all day long. The way I see it, I've got only 2 or 3 years left in boxing. 2 or 3 years. Maybe a lot less. Let's lean toward that. Maybe a lot less. This fight here will tell me if I should continue. Dude, he just doesn't get it.
And they license him to do it?
He just doesn't get it. He thinks he's fucking fine. You almost feel bad for the fucking guy because he's brain damaged. And, I mean, I feel bad for him. Not nearly as bad as I feel for Michael Dokes, service delivery manager at Telstra in Sydney, Australia. Michael Dokes, director at West Rock in London of the UK, obviously. And finally, Michael Dokes, a cook at Little Caesars Pizza in Detroit.
That's a loose term of cook.
Come on. I had to find a cook in there somewhere, you know?
I love that he's a cook.
Yeah, I do.
Little Caesars.
That's in Detroit, a Detroit Little Caesars.
How dare you call that food prep?
Here it is, Jimmy. December 10th, 1996.
Yeah.
Club Rio in Tempe, which was an awful, disgusting dance club with jizz all over the floor.
It's vile.
And I've done stand-up there.
Did you really?
Fuck yeah, I did stand-up there, dude.
How long's it been closed?
Oh, this was years and years ago.
Yeah.
They paid me like $100 to do fucking 10 minutes for like 8 people.
That's a deal.
And it was the whole floor. There was 100 tables. There was 8 people.
Oh,
and I just took the mic. It was wireless, luckily. So I was walking around. I won't say her name, but it's a person who we know. And it was me and a couple other people. And you just had to go out and it was rough, dude. It was weird. Super weird. It was hot.
Yeah.
Anyway, Club Rio, he is 290 pounds now. That's obscene. That's 70 pounds over and even 75 pounds over his original weight. Too much. He fights Dig 'em Up Doug Davis because he probably works for the, the fucking water company and he digs up pipes. That's why they call him that.
He's just a grave digger.
Or he's a grave digger. Well, that'd be a reverse grave digger.
Yeah.
Dig him up.
He's an exhumer.
You dig him down. Yeah. He's 8-20-1 coming in, so he's been digging up his own fucking grave here. Unanimous decision win for Michael. April 5th, 97 in Denver, he fights Louis the Facelifter Monaco.
I like that.
That's an interesting one. 280 pounds now for Mike. Michael is knocked down in the first round, but then he recovers. I think it was just his belly weight. Fucking knocked him off balance. And it goes all 10 rounds, and he loses on points to this fucking bum who's 5-6-2 career. He's got to know it's about over at that point, right?
Yeah.
No.
Why does everybody that's at the end of their career have the best nicknames?
They do, right? All these guys are good.
They're good.
This guy's not so good. He fights next. He's 280 pounds in 1997. He fights at Peel's Place in Erlanger, Kentucky.
Oh, boy.
Which is as far from Madison Square Garden as you could possibly be.
Yeah.
He fights Paul Rocky Phillips, who's 19-3. This is a TKO loss in the second round. Michael's jaw is broken in this one.
Really?
And they stop the fight, and that's about it for him. 53-6-2 for his career. That's his last fight there.
Yeah.
1998 comes along because that's the end of 97. He wants to get involved in pro wrestling. So he does. He becomes a wrestler in Jim Barrier. I don't even know who this is, and I know this shit. Las Vegas-based Buffalo Wrestling Association.
They actually wrestle Buffalo.
I think it probably is. He's known as the Player.
Oh.
He should have went with Playboy Young Louie as his name, but he's known as the Player in this. I'm sure that lasted 3 weeks. Yeah. And his wrestling career is cut short because August 1998 here, August 10th, 1990, or not August 10th, August 15th, 1998. It's at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
And his girlfriend of 10 years comes home from the Janet Jackson concert that she went to see. Okay, that's nice.
5 a.m.?
Yeah.
She played late.
Nah, she's out. Who knows? Stop and get food with your friends. You do the whole thing.
You got to wait till 3 to see her tits.
That's the thing. If you hang out that long, she starts taking pieces off. So she walked in, and Michael greeted her with a punch in the face.
Oh, no.
It gets worse. Beat her. Horribly. Beat her, holds her for 6 hours, continuously beating her and sexually assaulting her, and then beating her some more, and just beats her a lot over the course of 6 hours. She said that she was held for 6 hours before he let her out. She didn't have to run away. Didn't have to, whatever. Just before she left, she says that Dokes sexually assaulted her because he wanted to have sex one more time before going to jail, he told her.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he's fucking gonna kill this woman. She says, quote, "I finally begged my way out of there." The attack left her face beaten so badly that arresting officers could not recognize her from her driver's license photo. She didn't look like a person. She looked like a fucking, I don't even know, a pile of meat. Ridiculous. He beat her so badly that he is charged with attempted murder.
Whoa.
That's how badly she was hurt and beaten and how badly he hit her. It's fucking crazy. He's charged with attempted murder, kidnapping, battery with intent to commit sexual assault. He's got a lot of charges that are very bad here. Yeah. He goes to court January 25th, in November. First he pleads not guilty, and then he ends up pleading guilty.
He took a plea.
He has to. There's no, he beat the shit out of this poor woman.
Why would you ever drop the charges on that?
It's crazy. So January 25th, 2000, he's sentenced. It's for attempted murder, though. He is being sentenced for attempted murder. During the sentencing hearing, the victim, she spoke. She said, quote, "He needs to be put away. He has hurt too many people. The next time he's going to kill somebody."
Yeah.
I would agree with that. Michael, in his talking to the judge, he described what he did as an overreaction.
Oh boy.
You think? Holding someone and raping them and beating them for 6 hours? I'd call that an overreaction to anything. Yeah. He said because she pulled a knife on him. Okay. And that was the overreaction. He says, quote, "I've been taught all my life to defend myself first, and I guess my reactions were without thought." So you beat her for 6 hours.
But she pulled a knife first?
And then it took 6 hours to get it away from her?
Right.
Seems like one shot. She probably would have dropped it, and then you could call the police and say, "I've been assaulted with a knife by this crazy woman." Or you hold her for 6 hours and beat her and rape her, and then go, "Well, sorry, fuck that."
I see him beating her, she grabbing a knife, and him disarming her, and then for 6 more hours.
Fucking beating her more. That's exactly right. He says that he was remorseful. He says, quote, "There's no excuse for my actions. I love that woman with all my heart." This is very OJ. "I truly wanted to spend the rest of my life with her as husband and wife." The judge says the severity of the crime outweighed the numerous letters and testimonials offered by friends and business associates and people like that have been sent to the court. Try to keep him out of jail. What kind of good a person he was, how much charity work he does. The judge says, "With your physical attributes, she could have been killed very easily. Your hands are dangerous weapons. Right. You, sir, may fuck off 10 years in prison." Not fucking around. 10 years for attempted murder.
In 98.
In 98.
Okay.
2000 is when the sentencing finally comes down. January 2000. 10 years in prison. That is a minimum of 4 years and 2 months in that sentence. But he can be held for 10 when he's paroled. But we'll find out about it. He doesn't get his first parole because of an incident here. July 7th, 2000, his mom dies. That's sad. I like Zipporah. I'm tired. I'm sad she died, but she was like 75 years old. It happens. What are you going to do? July 2004, Michael is in solitary confinement in the Indian Springs Southern Desert Correctional Center for breaking the jaw of another inmate. Because that's going to happen when you got a heavyweight champ in jail.
They're going to try you.
Well, no, this wasn't even trying him. This was during an unsanctioned sparring session. The guys want to spar. They want to learn to box. He's former heavyweight champ of the world.
Broke a jaw in sparring.
Broke a jaw. Inmate and a prison employee independently confirmed that he'd been in prison's Unit 8, which was the hole since the incident happened. The inmate said that the incident occurred in the prison's gym, where they're allowed to work out and shadow box, but not allowed to spar with each other, which makes sense. You don't want people punching each other in prison. That leads to stabbings. The inmate, though, said that at least 3 corrections officers were witnessing the sparring sessions. They let Michael get away with a little bit more because guys were learning from him, and it wasn't a matter of if he got them, they were going to get mad and attack him. He just kicked the shit out of them. So nobody was challenging his superiority with hands. So it was one of those things. So an employee who spoke on the condition of anonymity said it's common knowledge in the prison that Dokes will spar with anyone to give them an opportunity to boast that they worked out with a former world champ. Like, I sparred with that guy. So he'll do it anytime. The only condition that the sparring partners that is on it is to not hit him in the face. Don't punch Dokes in the face. He does not like that shit.
Okay.
We're going to the body. We're shadow boxing.
Right.
No fucking punching me in the face.
So somebody caught him.
Somebody decided that they might want to punch him in the face. I guess an inmate punched Dokes in the face during the sparring section, and Dokes responded with a real hard fucking shot to the jaw. He got serious for 2 seconds and went, "Oh, you think that's as hard as I can hit the way I've been hitting you? I'll sting you good." Punched him in the face, broke his jaw. He thought he was all right, but then learned his jaw was broken later on. The gym supervisor had gone to the bathroom at the time of the incident, apparently. The injured inmate got transferred away, and he got put in solitary. Dokes did. And so that means he's going to be denied his parole for this incident because he's obviously not a model citizen. He's in there for assault, and he's breaking more jaws. So, So they said, what is this? The director of the Department of Prisons said, "I can tell you that Michael Dokes was not involved in any unsanctioned prison sparring session because sparring is not allowed at the prison." Meanwhile, all the employees and other prisoners went, "Yeah, they were sparring right over there, and then this happened." He said that Dokes is usually a well-behaved inmate. He said another guy who's a noted Vegas gambler and sports capper, Len Banker, a friend of Dokes, said that Dokes was talking about wanting to run a prison boxing program and all that sort of shit here. He wants to teach children and blah, blah, blah. Who cares? You can't do that. I don't give a shit about any of that. 2008, he is paroled, finally. So he did over 8 years. It's a long time. He lived in Vegas for a while, which seems dangerous. Before 2010, he returns to live with family in Akron, back to Ohio. August 11th, 2012, this is the day after his birthday. August 10th is his birthday. At 54, Michael dies in hospice care from liver cancer.
Wow.
Yeah, he got out. Apparently, it happened very quickly. He had just been diagnosed, I think, earlier in that year or late in 2011. Dead.
Wow.
Hospice care in Akron, 54, done.
What a life.
Isn't that crazy, dude? How crazy is that fucking life?
He lived so fast.
And hard and done and gone. It's like almost the perfect ending for it. Shooting star style, 2013 in March, his family wants a street named after him.
What?
Come on now.
Which street?
The one leading to prison, I would say. If there's a street to jail, whatever street the jail's on, name that up. Michael Dokes Avenue. It goes right through the big gate in the front.
Do they want this in like downtown?
Well, they want it in Akron, named after him. They said he's the only heavyweight champ to ever hail from Akron. So let's give him a street. They said they're not opposed. The family members said they're not opposed to an alternative way to recognize him, but they think it needs to be marked in the hometown. His sister said, quote, "To be honest, it's about redemption. we all have indiscretions in our personal lives. He almost killed 2 women. That's not an indiscretion. I don't give a shit about the cocaine, but don't beat women. Michael did not ask for this recognition, but he earned it. Family and friends have been searching for a way to honor him. They want to rename Rhodes Avenue in Akron, where they grew up, to be, Michael
Only if
Dokes.
That's the street in town where you get coke.
I get that, or that, yeah, on the track, Right. They began gathering signatures of residents along the area. They collected 80 signatures of people who live on the street. Yeah. And then they wrote to the mayor and asked, could they do it there? Council members told family and friends there wasn't enough support on the council or in the administration for renaming the street because of his criminal history, obviously. He says, this is council president, said, quote, Council President Gary Moneypenny? That sounds made up.
Yeah.
Wow, but it's real. I think we feel we have to set a very high standard to rename a street after someone. We had serious reservations that Michael Dokes met that standard. Mm-hmm. I would say they did suggest alternatives, such as a bench, a large rock with a plaque on it, or a sign at the corner of Rhodes and another street. They also said something could be done on private property from one of the property owners who support the wishes. Hey, why don't you put it in someone's yard? Isn't that be nice? You can do anything you want in your own yard.
You weld some shit to a rock somewhere.
So who knows? Can't get enough of Michael Dokes.
No, there's plenty.
There's plenty. Well, you can get a signed glove of his for $125 on eBay, or this badass fight-worn robe.
Oh!
That is badass from 90. It's signed by him, Michael Dynamite Dokes on the back. It is fucking bad.
Is that thing like white and gray?
It's gray, and it's gray with the red lettering and the red fucking. It's cool. $795 for that bad boy, but
he wore it.
This is the fight that he wore to fight Razor Ruddock. This is the Razor Ruddock fight. That's pretty badass.
I like it.
Oh, it's fucking awesome. It's cool as shit. So that, my friends, is Michael Dynamite Dokes. Wow. Dynamite. Get yourself a rose and a big pile of linguine and clams, because that is a hell of a fucking story. Wild.
It's also heartbreaking.
It's very heartbreaking. You root for that guy because he's fun.
Well, I mean,
he's smart and he's fun, and I don't care about coke, but then he starts beating women, and you're like, oh.
He fucked it up from the start. He was 14.
Didn't matter. He held on for a long time. Held it together for a long time.
I don't
with
know.
The coke.
Is that a long time?
And through your whole teens? Usually it's like a year and a half, and these guys are getting arrested and everything else. He held out for a while. Good for you, Mike. But I always knew of Michael Dokes from boxing, but I'd seen him here and there, but I never knew all of this shit. And I found him looking somebody else up, and they were there was an article about his arrest on the other page, and I was like, did he get arrested a lot? And then we found this fucking story. So, holy shit. If you like that story, tell us about it. You can go ahead and get on Apple Podcasts, that purple icon, give us 5 stars. It helps out a lot, so please do that for the show. You can head over to shutupandgivememurder.com for everything crime and sports and small town murder related. All sorts of stuff on there. New merchandise up all the time. There's these really cool, like prayer candle looking images that Sarah made that are pretty cool on there. Check those out. All sorts of stuff, and get your tickets to live shows. Listen to Small Town Murder, for God's sake. If you haven't, I don't know what the hell you're doing. Also, listen to P.S. I Hate This Movie on Fridays or Saturdays whenever we release it, and check that out, where we make fun of bad romantic comedies and every other damn thing. God, look at Michael Dokes. He's a handsome man.
James, you look at his Wikipedia page. He has coke on his mustache.
Yeah,
in his
that's
picture.
What I mean. That's not surprising.
That's unbelievable.
Not surprising. You want to help out the show a little bit more? Very easy to do that. Very, very easy over at patreon.com/crime and sports. You're going to get all sorts of stuff. You're going to get Jimmy to mispronounce your name, which could happen coming up in a second here. Brace yourselves. You're also going to get access to all of our wonderful bonus materials. This week's bonus materials, we like to do them quarterly-ish. We're going to do personal classified ads from newspapers, from like old newspapers. We find the weirdest.
So fun.
It's so fun what people want in their classified, what they're looking for in personals from someone else when they put it on paper and you can't see their face. It's
and
hilarious.
How they represent themselves.
That's
this is
the
what
thing.
I am.
This is what I am.
And this is what I'm looking for.
And what we found is every woman says that she's fun, and every man says they own a home.
Right.
That's how it works. That's how they can attract. I'm fun. Well, I have a home.
Right.
Let's
be fun and homey together.
Fun and homey. That's what it is. So check that out. Small Town Murders this week, too. We are going to get into, from one of our cases, something that went all the way to the Supreme Court, the white trash defense, where there is an actual legal document that many scholars have pored over, called The White Trash Defense, and it's all about pooping in buckets and shit. It's wild.
Great.
So check that out on Small Town Murder. You'll get access to all that good stuff at patreon.com/CrimeInSports, and anybody over the $5 level will get that. If you just want to have good karma and have your name mispronounced brutally by Jimmy at the end of the show, that is also easy to do over at PayPal using our email address, crimeinsports@gmail.com, which is a way to get a hold of the show as well. Another way to get a hold of the show, at Crime and Sports on Twitter and Facebook, at Small Town Murder on Instagram. That said, God damn it, Jimmy, you know what I need right now after all that, Michael Dokes? The list of the greatest people in the world who would never hold us hostage for 6 hours and beat and rape us. Hit me with them, Jimmy.
This week's executive producers are Christopher Palcow, Christy Hunting, Troy Mungillo. By the way, Troy, I don't even know how to say thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're a hero.
Really.
Thank you.
We
truly
appreciate the shit out of you, Troy. Thank you.
Willis Tanya, it's Tanya Willis, by the way. Randall Martin, Jackie Sukup, Chrissy-Ann Castaldi, Donnie Keene, Jordan Bennett, Cindy Crenshaw, Sarah Ness, Crystal Cooper, Lisa Letterman, Jennifer with no last name, Arthur Weitzel, Lisa Love, David DeBlaker, I think, Kyle Westbrook, Keta, what is that, Keta? I think it's I think it's Keta Sorensen. I don't know. It's Hedda Sorensen.
Oh, okay.
And also Eric Jones. Thank you guys so much for everything you do. Truly, you're changing lives. You're amazing.
Honestly.
Other producers this week are Asia Dizardovic. Nope, Dizdarvich. I'm sorry. I'm going on. Jamie Lee Thomas, Lauren Demarath, Max. Nope. Yep, Max Beverly. Damn it.
This is going well.
Kelly, I know already. Kelly Redinger, Thomas Smith, Carl Doyle, Melissa Turner, William Bordwell, Haley Irving, Trey Volcanar, Janice Hill, James Martyr, Susan Olgis, Liz Vasquez, Peyton Meadows, Amanda Knight, Sarah Surridge, Melissa Letterman. I said that earlier. She donated both ways.
Thank you.
Selena Schmidtka. I think Danielle Swift, Rebecca English, John Windsor Hawkins, Andrea Webster, Samantha Ray Tuttle, Kyle Bailey, Brooke Kale, Brendan Abels, Grover McDiarmid, Finnemore Calderon, Justin Bain, Christy Morrison, Todd Albrecht, Joshua Barak, damn it, Stephen, what did I do? Lewitt Lowney, yep, Jason Lopez, Makako Norden, Donald Porter, Jesus, hey. Melissa Stoops, Adam Kozman, Robert Larson, Courtney Cabral, Kendra Granis, David Tapia, Morgan 459, Mark Carver, Sarah Smolsky, Ben Escott. I really got to get a better pen. Trinam 71, Alyssa Stanley, Jen Cowherd, probably dude's wife.
Oh, I'm sure it's Collins.
It's got to be. Absolutely. Angelo D. Lloyd, Benedict Brooks, Nora Hammervick, Jacob Magyar, Sean with no last name, Cheyenne Quigley, Nathan Kendall, Margaret Burnett, Mark Gavani, Derek Zarda, AC, Ryan Hendricks, Brian Humes, Sam with no last name, Michael Renninger, Brandy Coulier, Yawen Zora Luan, I think, Damon Miller, Mary McKenzie, that's Diana, probably, Holgeson, Turner Stewart, Christy Lee Ramchuk, Ashley Johnson, Shelley Barrett, Lindsay with no last name, Katie Colahan, Dan Rogers, Joshua Ahlers, Tatiana with no last name. What is this? Raiden? Nope. Caden Vance, Tammy Valentine, regular John, Flynn Patrick, Brandon Page, Daniel Russell, Eddie with no last name, Ryan Baylor, Frankie Montpettit, Lisa Mariotti, Lashia Latova, I think, Latour. I don't know. I'm terrible at writing. Elizabeth Smith, Michael Bizzari, Kimberly.
And reading.
I know. Pronovost, Aaron Martinez, Amy Neville, Sherry Gilbert, Gina with no last name, Kim Thompson, Tina Major, Kim, with a Y, Atwood, Lee Furlonger. Jesus Christ, I'm sweating already. Caitlin Crawford, Katie Amour, Kristen with no last name, Kristen Bremer. Nicole Ellis, Philip Rogers, Wounded Flute, Robert Gott, Travis Botman, Darby with no last name, Terrence Ray, Chad Ritchie, Andrew Green, Jennifer Goff, Brooklyn Larimore, Diane Zimmerman, Emily Hoover, Jennifer Reilly, Nick Bennett, Skyla McGee, George Jackson, Don Whitus, Slade with no last name, Tyler Dubois, Michelle Fox, Katie Stowe, Sash Misciotti, nope, Massacote,
Master, what are you talking?
Mastodon.
Mastodon,
Stephen Dole, Aaliyah
what?
Aaliyah Mitchell, Joseph Mason. What is this? Kevin with a Y, Madsfield, Moosefield, Mooresfield. I know. That's
different.
That's not nice.
No.
Christopher Brock, Nibby with no last name, Nibby. Rachel Bordenaro. Nope. Jen
Why? Yes. Have confidence in yourself, Drew. Yes. Bordenaro or whatever it is. That's the one. Nailed it.
Connor Greenwalt, Jessica Somerville, Juan Evans. I almost pronounced the J.
Maybe they pronounced their names wrong. That's the thing. Maybe you're right. That's we had never thought about that. We've never even considered that, though.
You're right. Emily Milligan Thompson, Smalls with no last name, Jerry Lynn Knight, Amanda McMullen, William Perry, probably the fridge. Clancy Aaron Atkins,
awesome.
Charmaine with no last name, Sophie F, Olivia Mever, Mauer. It's Mueller.
Oh, it's Mauer.
It's a U, not a V.
That's 6 different pronunciations you just got.
Jean Sandridge, Jean probably, Charlene Bratcher, Mel Ackerman, Yannette Flores, Ryan Miller, Travis Haslam, Amanda with no last name, Isabel with no last name, Tanya Willis, Sonia Boer, Jay Bowe, Dawn Marie Howell, Rosa Nina Brito, Alejandra, Alcantar, all wrong. Don Smith, Shannon Hakey, Karen Edwards. Nope, that's Reynolds. Elkie Kelly, Nicholas Camrath, Liam Smith, Claire Archer Richards, Janica with no last name, Natalie Johnson, Gregory Ladle, Michael Trzynski. Nope, Trzynski. Elizabeth Taylor, Salty Admiral, Chase Randall, Kathleen Marsh, Whitney with no last name, Chelsea McAdams, Emily Marie, Madison Gwynn, Nick Breidenbaugh, Jesus, Marissa Whiteside, Sherry Mitchell, Emily Marie, I said that. Ryan with no last name, Christian Ubin, Danielle Rogers, Teacup with no last name, Maria, Jordan Craig Craggs, Jesus, Matt Bush, Kelly Wilder Outlaw, Robin Back, Michael with no last name, Bat Mock, I think, Corey Osborne, Jason McIver, Nancy Keaton, Madison Peppers, Vicky Williams, Nikki, Ricky LaFleur. Reggae. I think that's right. It might be Rocky. Rachel Spears. Laura Blakesley. She's been around a long time.
Yeah, we love Laura. Thanks, Laura.
Laney Korn. Trevor Morris. Tasha Walter. Ted Aspel. Matt Robinson. Tom W. Sandra Watkins. Joseph Weidenwich. What is this? Bowness. Jennifer Julian, Sarah Litchford, Sean Burleson, Anna Thompson, Bennett Kilgore, Amy Jezanuski, Morgan and Ben Brook, Jess and Kyle Norton, Riley Sluter, Alex Ball, Ken with no last name, Alaska, the whole state, Haley Wallen, Aaron Dickey, Haley with no last name, Wade Christensen, Nathan Bland, Lisa Atkinson, Hannah Sedgwick, Michelle Donegan, Craig Walters, Jason Bucom.
It's going that well.
I know. Allison Wrights, Tim Ashley, Leslie Blaze, damn it, Sonny Davis, Sean Collins, Amber Fields, Johnny Berkeland, Michelle Stalker, Chad Cooper, Michael Singleton, Le'Veon Bell, probably not, Kjartan Donater Tane Edmund, nope, sorry, Laura Bryant, Pammy B, Tyshawn Abdulaziz, Edward Arnold, Heather Hall, Holly Simek, Jenna Crow, Nicholas fucking what? Periscas, what? Why don't I just take... No, it's worse.
It's worse.
There's an Opolis. God damn it. Nicholas Periskevopoulos.
He's Greek.
Yep. Jenna Crow, Alyssa Tyler, Francisca Schmidt, Ashley Sams, Ellen O'Hara, Jessica Sheehan, April Prowley, Jennifer Proven, Stacy Parrott, Rev Linz, I think, Rue, maybe, I don't know, Kaylee Smith, Jenna Thorson, Josh Page, Nicole Delahunt, Kate Coleman, Shauna Moose, Heather Fowler, Cynthia Sofiantini, and also Dev, Laura, and EJ Husler, and all of our patron supporters. You guys are truly the most fucking amazing. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for everything, honestly, from the bottom of our hearts that you do for us, from the bottom of our cocaine-flecked mustaches. We just appreciate you more than you could possibly know.
That's Wikipedia.
That's wild. Jimmy, what if they wanted to get a hold of you? How could they find coke and get it in your mustache?
I'm on Twitter and Instagram. Where are you?
They'll find you. I'm around. You just look it up.
Yeah.
If you're looking at the show, you'll see our names and you'll find us. You're not dumb.
No.
You're not listening this long to get a goddamn Twitter address, so who cares? That said, thank you guys. Hope you guys have had a wonderful time this week. I know I have. And live from the Crime and Sports Studios, we will see you next week.
Bye.
If you like crime and sports, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
Have you ever gotten a message out of the blue? Maybe you ignore them. Or maybe you end up in conversation. Maybe they tell you about an amazing offer.
I can really show you how to make some money.
And maybe that gets you into a lot of trouble. But this isn't a story about people like you, the people receiving these messages. This is a story about the people behind the messages, on the other end of the line. Thousands of them, working in a microcity built for scammers. From Wondery, the makers of Dr. Death and Kill List, comes Scam Factory, a new series about survival at the expense of others. Follow Scam Factory on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Scam Factory early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts.